All right, we're live. We're live. What's up, Gerald? All right, go ahead and kick us off, buddy.
Yeah. So we took a little break because we had a guest that had to postpone last week. I hope she's feeling better. She was ill, LaShawn Colvin. If you guys are familiar with her, please send her some love and wish her well so she can be on a future show. But today's show is all about I don't know if you've all seen my posts in terms of like who we're gonna have. We're gonna be mixing it up. We have a really good guest for today. But let's just talk a little bit about Comics Cast and let it out. Welcome everybody. It's June 27th, Sunday, and my wonderful co-host Joe Tolliver is with me today. And a little bit about Comics Cast. Comics Cast is all about independent creators. If you're in the indie community, we want to promote you. We want you to be on our show. It's all about making sure the community knows about you, and Let It Out is a little bit different. You know, we do that interview, but we also do a drawing component. And today is going to be an inking component. So we're just going to hint a little bit about that. Yeah. But we'll do a little bit of this Comics Cast housekeeping here. And I would love everybody, if you found us through Facebook, we would love for you to like and subscribe, follow our YouTube page, which is Indie Comics Cast. And that's INDIE Comics Cast. And you can find us on YouTube. And there's the link below. I don't know if Joe.
I don't have it up. I don't have it up. But here's the bottom line. It's okay. Look, so we'll just do a quick thing. Just get it out of the way. The housekeeping stuff is really just make sure you guys are checking us out on YouTube. It's Indie Comics Cast. You're gonna find a lot of our post-production stuff there. So Facebook, really cool. We do a lot of our lives here. We boost it. We push it all over the internet. We make sure guys are seen. But the bottom line is we also want to make sure you guys are checking out our YouTube, because that's where we're going to be doing our post-production shows, where we really deep dive into how to go about doing things better as far as building and producing comics, how to go about improving your art, really doing features on individual artists. So there's a lot of things to do there and see there. So we're right underneath 300. So we want to make sure we get to 1,000. So one of the things that is going on with Comics Cast is we're really building the brand right now, and it's all about money going out, not money coming in. So the biggest thing is we want these platforms to be able to assist us as we keep building that platform. So it's important that we keep growing on those sites. We're also on Instagram as well as Twitter. But the biggest thing is we want to keep growing on YouTube to be able to get our media content out to the world and to assist growing these creators. I mean, it's booming right now. Indie comics is everywhere. It's really a big part of what we do, and it's our total 100% focus. So anyway, that's our YouTube channel. We're right underneath 100 videos right now. We're about 97 videos.
I just call it we have a plethora of videos.
Yeah. So we'll keep growing. We just put out another video. If you want to go up to the top, let them see it. We just put out our latest one, was the Mentor Block, our newest episode with the Mentor Block, which is all about shadows and form and really building that and improving your art there. So go check it out. But right now we're live on YouTube and Facebook. So watch this show and then go over there, subscribe, hit the bell, and then you'll know when we got new stuff out. Anyway, that being said, we've got our guest waiting long enough, I think. Ready to get in this bad boy.
He is waiting in the wings, and get him in here real quick. And without further ado, I'm going to do the drum roll. And Joe, you can let our guest in. And
okay, I'm in charge. All right. Well, we didn't tell him he was coming live. No,
man. I thought this was we're just talking. It was just no cameras on. What's going on?
Yeah. I want to welcome
stuff here.
Enrique Lopez, otherwise known as Kike, if you've watched him
or other unmentionable names, depending on who you ask. But
yeah,
there are people who don't like me. It happens. They're idiots. So it's all good.
Yeah, who doesn't like? If our audience.
I can give you a list. Though. I got a list. I'm checking it twice. So don't worry about it.
Right. Well, I want to welcome Enrique, and I may call him Kike. That's his one of his more popular monikers, and he has a show called Inking with Kike, And I would just like to bring everybody's attention to the link tree there at the bottom. I always appreciate when our guests do this because I don't have to list all the Instagram, all the Pinterest, all the Facebook. It's all here, and it also has links to his Kickstarters and his Indiegogo. If you want to find out about Enrique, and I'm going to introduce that other a moniker of yours a little later on. You can go to this link tree.
You don't have to.
It's a great.
It's already brand. You have to license it. Oh my God! There's the guy he's the one who created that moniker right there. He just came on. There he is. There's John Ottinger. Yeah. Thanks to him, that's how I'm known.
Okay. Well, since John is in the house, I'm going to go ahead and say it. He is known. Enrique is also known as Ink Daddy. So
thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to learn from the Ink Daddy.
We're going to learn from the Ink Daddy today. So
right.
So
He's right up there with the Todd Father, the Ink Daddy.
Oh yeah.
You're in good company.
Yeah. Stan the Man Lee, the Todd Father, and we have Ink Daddy. So.
Oh God.
We tried to get the other two, but we got one of the fathers there.
So that being said, it's because Mr. Ink Daddy is known for his phenomenal inks. He has great. He's worked with lots of creators in the independent community, and he's sought after. He does the con circuit like nobody's business. Of course, he had to take a step back because of COVID, but he had an impressive 36 cons in 2019. I mean, this guy is all about grassroots, hitting the scene, hitting the convention circuit. Plus, he's so active on social media. Like I said, when you go to that link tree, you'll see the multitude of ways you can get in contact with Enrique. We're going to give you all that stuff.
I took some of them off because it became like I was overdoing it. I took Twitter off. I took off the TikTok. I'm working into it little by little, but I like the TikTok. I think it has some interesting aspects, but it's like you need to get to 1,000 before I can do live stuff on it. So I was like, dude, nobody follows me there. I'm not doing enough work. I'm not twerking enough online there in TikTok to get a lot of followers. So
TikTok's a weird thing, man. Like TikTok's really good.
What was that?
Yeah, I was gonna say TikTok is a weird thing because there's a way to use it to get like short videos of your workout. But it's like the weirdest little Russian roulette. Like it may work really well, or it's just not. It's a dud. Like because it's just the platform is just a weird thing, man.
I did. Let me think. I think I did a video. It's like for a few seconds of me doing a quick inking over. I think a Simonson with the Ride of the Valkyries on the background with Thor and stuff. That we got. I think at one time I had like 600 likes, and a buddy of mine was saying that's pretty good. So what do you mean that's only 600? Go, yeah, but I mean 600 people watched it all the way to the end because you can't click on it unless you get to the end of it. And we're like, so people were watching it for a minute. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I don't have to twerk that much. So I don't know. But it's like only 5 people are like, yeah, you know what? So I took it off the link tree and stuff.
You should keep it up there because 600 is not a small number, and for something that you just threw up there right away, get 600. That's pretty impressive. But, yeah. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of the show because I want to hand the mic over to you, Kike, Ink Daddy. This is the part of the show we call the elevator pitch, and you are going to have more than one floor to talk to about yourself because you're a man of many talents, and we just want to hear that story because you not only do you do inks, you do writing, you do pencils. You actually are your own. You have your own original characters as well. But today we're really focusing on just the inking side of it. But now this part of the show, this is where we want to hand the mic over to you, and you can pretty much tell us your origin story. We want to hear what radioactive spider bit you and made you the Ink Daddy. And I'm going to actually show in the background some of the art that you shared with me. So here we go. So the mic is now in your hand.
Oh my God! When we're talking about being totally out there a lot, the gentleman who just tagged it right now, Steph. I mean, I love Steph. There he is, Steph. Is there a comic he hasn't done a variant for? Because I would like to know which one it is. Because the man is like a machine. He's out in every single one out there.
Yeah,
he hasn't done mine. Hasn't done one of mine.
Yeah,
and I'm still waiting for him to accept my invitation to Inky with Kiki. So I'm putting you on the spot, Steph, right here. You haven't been on my show yet. What's going on?
I want him to do one of the Bullinger characters and see how he pulls that off.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! It's like, but I mean, everybody associates him with certain kind of voluptuous
style.
But he has another side of him. I really saw it the other day, and I was like shocked. They go like, "That's you?" Well, yeah, I was amazing. Like, okay, so it's really like more fairy tale and stuff. So I'm like, hey, we'll be talking about some of that stuff I'm doing. So anyway, this here you're gonna see it on the screen right now. I'm looking at it. It's my latest. That's what I use for identification purposes, and it was created by a good friend of mine, Sebastian Bonet, who calls me his favorite neighbor of all time, on any show. So I don't know. So I'm an ink daddy for some. I'm a great con buddy. We met originally at East Coast Comic Con, and then when I did his nerd show, he actually sent me this that he had done, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I said, I'm using it for everything. He said, okay, no problem. So I have it as my icon everywhere. So it's like, I really like it because I look thin. I'm happy. I'll never grow older than that. I'll look really good all the time. So I'm saying, yep, that's what's staying around.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the ultimate fan art when somebody can do a fan art of you. So here I have, like I said, the mic is now in your hands. You can feel free to talk about your origin story. And I'm going to be I'm going to be showing some of the artwork you provided to me. And we're going to show like I said, you are a phenomenal inker. So some of these pieces is going to show some of the blue lines or the pencils, and then followed by that will be the actual inked work that you did. And there's a treat because some of the ones at the end, we actually get to see the next step, which is the coloring part of it. But we're going to revisit these after he tells a little bit about himself, and we can go into further and actually deeper details about these pieces because there's a story behind a lot of these things. So Mike is in your hands, Enrique.
So before Enrique gets started, just want to say I am having some tech difficulty with one of my cameras. So I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm just trying to fix some stuff.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, Enrique. It's all you.
All right. All me. Great. Anyway, there was a time when a little boy was born, and no, that's not going to far back. All right. No,
not that far back.
I was always interested in being on the creative side of stuff. From a very young age, I did a lot of writing. That's where my first passion always started from. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be the next, and when I was young, was like the next Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, H.G. Wells. Those were all the books I would read all the time. And I remember that as young as first grade, we would have these little pages that they would give us to write stuff on. And I would write a story, and then on the top of it, we had this big blank area. So I would write the story on the bottom. And usually these stories were based off using my friends, and it were based off like wacky races, Speed Racer, and like the guy I didn't like, he would be the Racer X in my story, So it's like all this kind of stuff, and I would read them in front of the classroom. So from a very young age, I developed the idea that I can stand in front of people and make fun of myself and do stuff and not worry about it. So I'm very comfortable in front of a camera, in front of a public and stuff like that. I wrote many stories. I would write for the school paper. I did a lot of poetry. I was very influenced by E.E. Cummings kind of stuff, Robert Frost. And I always thought I was going to have that kind of a career until you got to understand, I'm a son of immigrants. My parents are Cuban. And they were saying, no, you're going to starve. You can't go out there. You can't do this stuff. You got to go get a business degree, be an accountant like we are. And I'm like, well, okay, fine. So I basically, despite the fact I wanted to go into the art area, I went into the business school, but I was very smart in my choices in that I chose a school, first of all, in New Orleans, which is Loyola. So I had a lot of the flavors of that city, of that Southern style that I love. And it was a very, very, very good liberal arts school. A lot of filmmaking was done there, a lot of working with acting and stuff. So I would take my business courses, and then all my electives were videotaping, video production, screenplay, stagecraft, acting 101. So I developed this whole idea of becoming this if I was going to work in advertising, for example, I wanted to be able to be the best presenter, understanding how to write copy, understanding the film production, to the point that once I graduated and actually went into advertising, I had a job immediately. I got out, very lucky, and I would be able to talk to all the technical people. I would be able to talk to them. Then I started to gravitate towards the artwork side, and that's where I would start working. And then during this time, which was like the late 80s, we just had that incredible boom with The Watchmen. Frank Miller's Dark Knight came out.
Oh, yeah.
Killing Joke came out. So all these things were coming out. I say, wait a minute, comics are not crap anymore. They're actually really interesting stuff. So I actually had started getting back into them when Mike Barr and who was the artist on that one? I don't want to mistake it, but I don't think it was Alan Davis. Mike Barr came out with the Camelot 3000.
Yep.
And I don't remember right now the artist on it.
Dave Gibbons, isn't it?
Well, no, I don't think it was Gibbons. If it was, no, I don't think it was him. But the thing is that came out also a little earlier than that. I was still in high school, so I was thinking, man, this is pretty cool stuff. Even in high school, I was tracing a lot. I was learning a lot about Buscema. I would read a lot of the Savage Sword of Conan, which was all black and white, because I was more interested in following that kind of look, because I enjoyed the inking part of it more than anything else. I obviously was really attached in that time to the early Ling Wen and Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing. So all this stuff came there. Then there was this gap for a while. Then I discovered that Mike Grell was back with Sable, John Sable, and I also enjoyed that. So I'm looking at this time. I say, well, this is pretty cool. I'm doing business. Let me try now to get into comics. So I would do presentations. I wrote a story for a buddy of one of the artists in the group, and the agency. We actually produced a Batman versus Predator off my script. He drew it, I inked it, and this was before there was any amalgam and any other kind of crossovers with DC and Marvel. Mm-hmm. Both of us told us to go do some things with ourselves. We were totally unnatural, so we thought, no, we're not doing it. So I left that there. I got like 100, rejection all the time. The very last attempt I did was in '94, which I came to New York to present to Dark Horse my idea of a universe, complete with up to 100 pages, 100 issues already planned out, with trade paperbacks, with miniseries, split off series. Everything was planned out. I still have the presentation over here, and they were like, "No, that's not what we want to do." So I basically said, "Screw this," and I just said, "It's not for me. I'm gonna keep doing my own stuff," and I forgot about it. And but I always kept with comics on and off, and stuff like that. Once we moved out of Puerto Rico, and then we came up to the United States. I kept moving up. Once we got to New York, I decided, I told my daughter, let's go to New York Comic Con and let's start going to these things. And that's where, and the first con I actually went to was Garden State. And that's where I met up with Jay Lipson and Jim Califor and Mark McKenna. And we were just talking about it. And Mark was like one of the first guys, Billy Tucci was like one of the first guys to say, I'm looking at your stuff, man. Why aren't you standing around with us? I go like, because I suck at this. You go, no, you're not. Get out of it, man. And I owe it a lot to my daughter, because my daughter started back when we were in Virginia. She started to sew her own stuff, so she was learning to sew, and she would. Then when we got up to New York, we took her to Mood, so she actually went up to where the fashion designers learned to actually sew. But then she was doing her own cosplay to the point that she actually did, where she was a big fan of Voltron when it came out on Netflix. She actually did a Lance jacket herself with all the patches, everything she did herself. And when she met the actor who does the voice acting, he saw it, he says, "Man, that's a really cool jacket. When you get it?" I said, "I made it." He was like, "What?" And he was like, he couldn't believe it. He actually wanted to buy it. But the thing is that she was so good at doing that, and she enjoyed so much the sketch part, that she then diverted from making the fashion to actually doing sketching. And that's where she asked me one day to like ink over one, or she said, didn't you used to be good at this? And I'm like, oh, thanks a lot. And yeah, I used to be. Yeah, that's right. So I did it, and I did that inking over that piece, and we actually sold it at our very first show we did together at a library. That Mark McKenna was a guest, and he told me, "Get a table here, you're gonna enjoy it." And that was in 2017, I think it was, late 2017. So so then from that moment on, I got back into this, and I owe it a lot to people like Billy Tucci, who really gave me a lot of opportunity. He gave me like his first piece of the Vampirella I ever produced was from him. Mm-hmm. Paul Abrams, also very supportive. Keith Williams, immediately. I remember that I had no followers when I started this. And so anytime a follower show up, we'd be like, whoa, we got one.
It's like fishing.
Like, whoa, we got some. And one day, all of a sudden, it was in 2018, like in September, October. Keith Williams followed me. I was like, say what? When I went to New York, because I was still just doing the fan thing. I went up to him and said, man, I really appreciate you doing this follow. Why in the heck do you do that? I'm nobody. He was like, and his words were, I like to follow those who have potential. And I'm like, okay. Now I was like, wow, great. Now, much to his chagrin, he probably regrets it, because ever since then, we're always next to each other. He's like, damn, I can't get away from this guy. My God, stop calling me. So yeah, and part of those 36 shows, about most of them, we did them next to each other in one way or another. And that was most of those 36 were created because I would watch him and I would see what show he was at. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that show. What the hell is this? And I was like, I would call him. Wait, why is Keith there and I'm not? He says, oh, you want to join? Yeah, okay, come on over. And then, so I would be next to him there. And it was like, he was like, okay, that's interesting. But then I would do a show he wasn't going to do. And he was like, what is that show? And then we'll call those, hey, can I be at that show? Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's at that show. I'm like, really? So we're basically stalking each other for a while.
And then
now he's too big. Now he's too big. He's like, he's flown on his own now. He's like, he doesn't go with me anymore to these places. We only do it very well. We did one really like 2 weeks ago, the Garden State. It was great. I mean, you want to talk about Ink Daddy Corner? Look at this corner. Look at this corner. It was Keith Williams in the corner, myself next, Scott Hanna, Chris Ivey, Howard Mackey, Riley Brown. I mean, all you had to do was go into that corner. You had nowhere else to go. That's all you had. Go there. We had a great spot. I mean, they put us in a great spot that the wall would curve away. So I had so much space behind me. I put up tables and everything. It was like awesome. It was just great. It was just great.
Well,
yeah. So after all that stuff, yeah. So I actually started doing these things again. So a few years ago, in 2018, to get it more to where we are today, and this is something for all you young and not so young people out there who are trying to get into this crazy industry and stuff. You're feeling like, man, why am I not moving ahead as quick as enough? Trust me, it is a slow burn. 2018, I met with 7 other individuals at Panera. I don't even remember where in New Jersey.
Did you say Panera? Like
Panera of all the great. Yeah, like when they do the stories, like it all began in a Panera. Yeah, I don't think so. You never hear that. So I mean, so this origin story starts in a Panera Bear, where they were having coffee on a late afternoon, and then all these artists were here, and it's funny because we were brought there by somebody else to create a new image comics kind of idea, to create this other group of independent artists to get together to make one thing. And I was brought in there because of the guy wanted me on his team, and then I met this whole other group of artists. And of course, the meeting went nowhere because egos got in the way of everything. And I'm just sitting here saying, you know what? I like your idea, but why don't we try this first and do that first and this first? He's like, are you trying to take over my meeting? I said, no, bro, look, all I got, let me pull this off the wall. MBA in marketing, let me try. I'm not trying to take over the show. I'm just trying to tell you, let's do this. I got some experience. Well, the guy got pissed off at me. I said, screw this. I'm out of here. So, but the thing is that one of the guys I met there was actually Matt Parton. Now, Matt and I ended up actually talking after that because things got really nasty between me and this other person. And I was like, okay, I don't get what's going on. So we bonded. And then I told him, you know what, man, I like your style. Why don't we do a piece I have in mind, which is called the Sith Lords? We would have put all the characters, all the evil guys from Star Wars. We're going to have Anakin and Darth Vader on one side, and I want to have the Emperor on this side, and then we'll have the Stormtroopers, and then we'll have Darth Maul and Kylo Ren. And he thought, oh, that's a great idea. And I sent him my sketch, and I said, go with it. And he sent it back, and it was not, he actually flipped a few things that I wanted, but we I did it. I liked it. I said, well, this is great. So we did that. I inked it, and then I gave it to DC Alonso, and then it becomes the Sith Lord print, which is a super seller of mine, you know, mine and his. So we did that together. So after we did that, about a year later, we kept meeting at shows and stuff, and nothing else happened. But then a year later, he tells me, you know, a buddy of mine is doing this thing called Horrendous. I think you should be in that. I say, okay. So when I talked to John Muller, I asked him, can I be in here? No, it's done. But I'll be doing one next year. I said, okay. And then in 2019, he approached me again, and he said, look, it's going to be called Stupendous. And that's where I created the Massive Man and Kid Massive and all that. And I inked the cover. I inked the cover of that book. Actually, let me see if it's over here. Yeah, that's this one here.
Let's get you full screen here real quick. Like, this is my first time doing this. Here we go. All right.
So I did this one here. I did this is my main man over here. Massive Man is here. That's my guy. Right. I inked the whole cover for everybody, and I got a short story in here. I actually wrote a short story, a one-page short story plus a 6-page comic. Eric Hernandez came in to pitch hit on something. That's my guy. That's done by John Muller. So I actually did that one. And then John told me you should do now Horrendous when we come back later, which is the one that came up later, which is this one over here. Now, this was double the size. This was even larger. And this was really pretty. It really came out nice. And I did that. That's my Vampirella type of vampire kind of character there. It's actually a different version of her, totally risque. And I mean, even I think Steph would appreciate that version. And that's not on the cover because he said, no, this is PG. I said, fine. It's on my webpage.
Okay. That's incentive.
That's in the portfolio. You got to dig in there to find it. You got to dig in there to find it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you have a tall order today because I don't think people realize that you're also going to be, a lot of people are going to be watching and learning today. But the biggest person who needs to learn today is Gerald because he doesn't know how to ink at all. He refuses to ink anything.
Calling me out. He's
a big sketch artist. So everyone's like, hey, I like your stuff, but if you don't ink it and finish it, then I'm not taking your stuff. So
yeah.
You got a tall order today.
I know he showed me some stuff. I go, that's not bad. I go, this is pretty good. And I go, yeah, man, but I don't, you know, I'll be honest. I hate inking myself.
What?
On my own stuff. I hate inking my own stuff.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things that sometimes I fear. Not lately, what I'm doing is like I'm really going in harder is to like really putting much more details. I used to do a lot looser. Then I'll get in there with the ink later, and it just messes me up. So I actually enjoy going over other people's stuff and bringing their artwork out even more than worrying about me. You know, it's like but it's just weird. It's just weird like that.
Yeah, I totally understand it. It's like
other inkers like Scott Hanna. He loves it. You know, they're. Because a lot of people forget, a lot of inkers are actually great artists in their own right, is that they just choose to do this part more than any other part, you know? and that's the thing, is that when you go over like Keith Williams, actually, when I met him, he was not penciling. He was just doing inking, and he figured out, wait, if I don't start penciling anytime soon, I'm going to be stuck in a rut. And if you look at what he has done, what he started a few years ago, 2017, I think he started 2018, to what he's doing now, it's a leaps and bounds. It's just a normal multiple practicing and stuff. Yeah. And he was one that, one time he didn't like to ink over himself either. Anybody just developed, and now he's like so comfortable. But Scott Hanna, you can look at his stuff, and he is like, he does watercolor. He does acrylics. He's an actual talented painter. So he's recognized as an inker, but he's so much more. So that time, and once in a while, inkers get this bad rap of being tracers and stuff like that.
Never want to say that word. Never want to say that word.
Yeah, the other day somebody came up to us while at that same show was Scott, Keith, and I. It says somebody came up. Oh, is this a tracer meeting?
No.
If we didn't like him that much, we would have killed him there. But anyway,
yeah, that's somebody who is who's kicking the snake and hoping to.
He wanted to kick the cobra. He almost got stung. But
exactly.
No. The only thing is that because I know the guy, I didn't kill him. I was saying I know you're messing with me. I know you're messing with me. But it's really, I see a lot of work out there. And I know I'm diverging a little bit here, digressing over myself. That one, yeah. Actually, I'm going to say that one is a piece that was done by Sammy Castillo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a much larger piece. I mean, that sucker is about 11 by 17, has multiple demons and everything flying around. And she sent it to me to do it on my 1 hour show.
Oh, right.
Do this. So not even this one. I did not end up doing that one live because it was so much work. I did that one much later. And that piece has actually already been sold. I sold that on the recent show. That was more, I was telling Gerald the other day that that's my Bernie Wrightson influences in there and all that bottom part. And the top of her, all the braids and stuff on her chest, that is with a .003 pen that broke.
That's what I wanted to say, because it's like the fact that it's traditional is so stunning. Like,
my daughter does all her stuff digital, and she goes like, "Oh, wait a minute, I can't see it." I'm like, "Yeah, nice." And I've done some digital stuff. I mean, for James Avila, I've done a Ghost Rider, and I did a Wonder Woman that he did. Those were all digital. And the only reason I did the Wonder Woman digital is because I was just messing with it. And I go, I'll finish it here. And I did half of it traditional, half of it in digital. But the Ghost Rider, because it has so much flames and a lot of links, I cheated. Like, let me do this here. Look, click. Oh, there it is. It's nice and round. That's nice and round. That's nice and round. So that's the only reason, because I knew that was going to be a print. So
Enrique, like, there's a lot of people that they like digital because they can go in here and do that, right? So like for me, this is what I do if I'm doing pencils or inks. Which honestly, for me, my pencils are always like unfinished because I know my inks are gonna finish them off, and it's a hit or miss. I know it's a flip of the coin, but like if I need to do this, I got these, man.
Yeah, I'm getting with those old, like those watchmakers, like Zoom, little lens. I'm gonna get one of those for my next studio. I'm gonna put that up there. So there you go. I mean, we had that even at my young age when we were working in advertising. We had that because people forget when I started, the fax was actually new. Okay, faxing stuff was new. All right, so when we would do type, where people go like, "Oh, we just use the font." Yeah, right. We used to have a thing about this thick of fonts that we would have to go into and look at and show it to a client. Do you like this one? Yeah. Then we would call the company. Oh, we don't carry that font. God damn it. Okay, we have this one. Yeah. Okay, good. So we would send it all the copy. They would send it to, and we have to tell them this one has to be 10 points. This one has to be 25 points. This one has to be, and then they would send it to us, and then we go like, okay, crap, we got a typo. All right, we got no time. Find an E. Where's an E? Okay. Let's cut it out. Paste it. Nowadays it's just like, and it's like people don't that's a different time. Then the ad, we have to take it to a machine, put it on the machine, take a photo stat, take that stat over here, divide the colors. But I said I was in advertising back then. We worked.
I'm actually in that realm right now, and it's definitely. I actually was there during the transition when I was in school when they were doing the transition to digital. So I definitely see what you're talking about. And that's why I was really, really astounded. I was looking at you because there's a trend that's moving toward digital inking. And what I loved about seeing your stuff is that, no, you're a traditional guy. You know, when you talked about when you were drawing things or when you were inking things like that piece, you actually broke some of your microns because it was so detailed and it was so tactile. You were so into the actual piece that, you're feeling it, the texture of the paper, the seeing how the ink flows and lays down. I thought that was so cool because when you do digital, you were just talking about how he had to like copy things, cut things out, and paste things. Those are the real things. I mean, the reason why it's called copy, cut, and paste is because that's what you had to do in advertising. And that's
it's just one of those things. It's like, and like my daughter's now, my daughter's not even 18, and she is such an old soul because she likes vinyl like I do. And now she's buying cameras. I go, that you actually have to send the film in. I go like, are there places that do that still? And I go like, you do understand this is what happens at the beginning. Like, you won't know if they're good.
It develops.
Like you can go, oh, I don't like this one. You gotta hope everything was working. So those last second stuff, it's just funny.
But see,
I want to say something real quick about this piece right here, and then I'm going to go back to my original story that I dropped off. This piece is actually by a good friend of mine, Ben Worrell. He is the CEO and owner of the Sheath Comics. Now, he, like John Ottinger, do a lot of illustration. They do a lot of drawing and stuff. He never inks his own stuff. He's never had anybody he inks his own stuff, and he's never had anybody else ink him. So this was like a first time for him. And he loved it so much, he ended up saying, send me the actual finished piece. I'm like, okay. And when I sent it to him, he then came back and threw that one in color. So that's actually already a colored print that's out. I forgot to send you that one. But so that one is already done. And I played here a little bit, and he obviously, because I was thinking in black and white, the lightsabers try to get that crackle look without being too overly overwhelming it. But then when he came in, he cleared it out and gave it that glow and stuff. So, but it's just enough to give a little crackle look. That actually is a very small piece. That's only 9 by 12, and then we blew it up until like 11 by 17. So, and actually I have that as a canvas print that already sold at least one. So.
Right, and this is what we talked about. Yesterday we were just talking about the inker's sensibility. In terms of like when you're given a piece, and this is what I want to focus on right now, because this piece just blew me away. And I understand that this particular artist, he's since passed away, but what was the artist's name?
Zach Dolan.
Yes, phenomenal talent, and Kike was blessed to have the opportunity to ink this artist, and you can see already here that the line work is just phenomenal. The positioning, the pose, the composition is just great. And this is what Kike has. He has an inker's eye. He can definitely see what, a good inker can enhance good pencils, but also put their own stamp, their own style on it as well. And so when I saw this, and then we're going to go click on here, I was just looking at this and I was like, just look how faithful that PK was in terms of translating this art to ink, but he's added his own styles. Particularly like here, I was really drawn to this, and I'm a big fan of Legend of Zelda, Link, this character here, and you see like young Link, older Link, and you can see all the paraphernalia, his arm, all the armaments and tools and his swords and weapons, they're actually in the game. And the artist was able to put that in there, but Kike is able to bring that out. And if you ever played the Legend of Zelda games, there's also like this duality. There's a light Link and a dark Link, and I just like how Kike was able to do that even with a shield here. I don't. There was symbolism, I guess, that was in there.
Well, not to mention also just that if you look at the pencils again, you can definitely see that there was an option there if you wanted to go full black in those elements.
Yes,
like you could have gone full black.
Yes.
And the fact that you left the texture in the blacks is incredible, and it's a little minor detail things. And I haven't seen it fully colored. I know this image.
You will.
I've never seen it fully colored, so it'll be interesting to see how the colorist then decided to use that color palette.
This piece, I got to tell you, it's one of those things that I was telling Gerald yesterday that this is like my third piece that I inked when I restarted my career. And I felt like I'd done my Sgt. Pepper way too early. I was like, God damn it. You know, now look at the bar I have to set myself at, you know. And it is my best seller, and I've done it, and I've flipped it over to the righty and lefty, so people can buy them in either way. And I also sells a lot in black and white.
Yeah,
people buy the black and white version a lot, you know. They just go, but yeah, this is one of those things that I was really patient. It could have been really easy to go full black, you know. All this has got to be black. I wanted to give the effect of there's still some lighting going on, some texturing there, and I enjoyed a lot of trying to get that fur of that. You can tell, and again, this is not digital. This is traditional. So look, each arrow, the feathers are at the end of all the details I had to put. These are really small lines. The runes on the bow, everything, you know, and also in here, I didn't want to obscure all the little details in there, so people can still. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's the canteen. Oh, that's over here. Oh, that's the candle. Oh, this is that. You know, and that's what people forget. I've had people buy the whole set just to be able to look at them and just admire how it works out. You know, Zach did a great job with that piece. That actually was, I think, a Kickstarter stretch goal that was never produced beyond the little pencil lines and stuff. And I remember I asked him when I saw it online, I say, have you ever inked this version? And he goes like, no, it's never been inked. And I go like, would you have any problems with me doing a stab at it? And it was like, no. And I'll say, okay. But he says, do you have a good copy? I said, well, I got it from Facebook. No. I'll send you a good scan. and then that's what helped, that I actually had the actual pencil scan from which I turned it into a blue line in which I was able to work it.
Yeah.
That piece alone you can go study on, just studying that, how you did it. I love seeing the little elements of ink smudges that you get from traditional inks, like very minor, like there's about 2 or 3 spots where you can see that a little bit of the ink just kind of smudged a little bit. And I just love it, man. I love that you just.
I try to hide that a lot. You know, I will go in and try to fix it digitally, you know, once in a while. But this is, like I said, this is one of my early pieces. You know, there's a Ninja Turtle one I did, was also really good. I'm like, damn, why am I doing so good at the beginning? The fact is, I got very lucky and blessed to have such great pencilers provide me with the early stuff to do.
Yeah, and you know, when I was talking about the inking sensibility, like what you do to enhance things, I kept on gravitating.
Look at that rope. Look at that rope in there. You know, every little strand in there. You got to go in there and make sure everything doesn't cross over in the wrong way, you know.
Well, this is also like what you did to enhance it. And, you know, we talked about this yesterday when you were looking at the pre-show. And I kept on zooming in here because I wanted everybody to kind of see this is what Kike brought to this, his style to it, you know, like still maintaining the integrity of the artist, the pencils before him. But you can see in here there's suggestions of texture here. But then when we go into what Kike did, he still was faithful to that, but what he did is he added, let me zoom out here. He added his own touch here. And by creating all these different types of hatching, these different types of lines, it actually makes it look like it's fur or it's leather. It has, you know, especially like, oops, you can't control my acrobat here.
Gerald's over here talking about inking like he knows what he's talking about.
Well, I can appreciate it. You can't execute it. I cannot execute it. And
good. And that's what we're gonna do today. And where are we at now? We're at 10:47.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
We're gonna have to start switching over to drawing time at some point.
We're gonna do that.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is good.
I just wanted to show this one more time because, you know, you were talking about that looks like it's a smudge, but it's actually like a stippling that he put in here to actually add a little bit of depth, you know, to this as well. So, or dimension, dimension to it. But it's just phenomenal. This was one of my favorite pieces that I saw. And yes, we are going to get to that live drawing. But I want to just, before, you know, we get to that, I just want to show how, you know, that inking sensibilities that Kike was able to figure out. Well, you know what, this is going to eventually be colored, and for your treat, I want to show this. It did get colored. And this is something that Kike and I talked about yesterday, is that as he makes decisions in terms of his line weights and what he chooses to, like, you know, those putting in those rich, deep blacks or choosing not to put in there so that maybe the coloring would enhance some of those shadows. These are things that Kike considers when he's doing it. He joked around with me and said, "Oh, you give me too much credit," but I think subconsciously he's already thinking about how the next step. And it was really cool here to see this is going from pencils, blue lines, to inking. Let me zoom out of here. To this final colored piece, and
which that piece was done by DC Alonso. He is.
Yeah.
When I met DC, when he did this one for me, he was like just doing a few coloring works for Aftershock. Since then, he's gone on to heavy metal. So I take credit for that.
Okay.
I took you when you were nothing. Now you're big. Thanks to my link.
That is
and
so
my Star Wars guys.
Yeah.
Remember me remember the little people. No, but actually, he's a really phenomenal. He's just improved, and now he's actually drawing. I told him, I hate you, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna start drawing too. Competition. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, but before we get into our live drawing, I just want to focus on one more piece because I got this a little bit later on after we did our pre-show yesterday, and I just loved it because we were talking about the crossovers, things that weren't really done before, or the amalgams of stuff, and then we had Kike doing this things. Here we have a Conan versus Predator.
Also a Zach piece. That is also Zach Dolan.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's so rich. So here
now, this is something I want to show you here before. See, Zach's signature is on the top.
Yes, right here.
Remember that when we go to color.
Okay. All right. So here we go. We go into inks, and you can see the decisions, the inker sensibility in terms of where to put the really deep blacks, and where what you can't produce with pencils. He's enhancing with inks, and being able to figure out the line weights when you have an extreme foreground and you have a background here. Just the attitude, that he's able to still, sometimes I think when people look at inks and they see the original pencils, they feel like sometimes the drama or the energy is lost. Not in Kike's case. The drama in this piece is only enhanced.
Some people might complain and they say, "Oh, but you left this blue there. You left that blue." Well, that's where I came into the idea. Is like, look, I can tell that he wanted this one black there, but I'm thinking if this is going to go color.
Right.
Why put so much black? I can let the other colors say, look, this is the idea. You put the shade here and let this go. Yep. I gave a lot of black on the bottom because I wanted to do that specifically. Mm-hmm. But in this piece, all the fur on the bottom was done in quill. The leather on the top was a quill. All the machinery here was in quill. So that piece, I think I still have the original. When you pass your hand over the plastic on which is it, you can tell that because quill is on top. You can feel it, and you can feel like the rough thing. Of course, when people start talking his groin area, go, "Hey, take it easy, man." You don't know it can pop out. But anyway, the point is you can feel all the ridges of everything I did there.
Yes, yes.
So that was a great piece. I loved it that Zach was ahead of the curve. Now that Marvel owns both properties, you never know. We might have been ahead of the curve. So.
Right, you were telling the future here with this piece. But here we're going to go ahead and show the color before we get into the live drawing, and amazing, the drama that was added. The colorist just put the final step in bringing the pencils to a next level.
You can see how the blue part that I left, he was able to just come in there and give it a nice shade.
Yeah.
He also added that thunder I had and lightning. I had no idea because I said, dude, the background is white. I don't know what we're going to put there. He says, leave it to me. And now you can, like I was talking about the signature. See, they're now down here in the middle.
Yes.
So more enhanced than in the corner.
Uh-huh.
And just one of those things that you can see how the light, therefore, this character, now the Predator, is much darker because of the lights in the front.
Yes.
A little more darkness on Conan, but the lights on so DC really blew it out of the water with that one. That obviously is another highlighted piece that sells really well.
Yeah, I was totally blown away with it, and I really wanted to show that, the inker is the bridge between the pencils and the final colored piece, and seeing that, the forethought or being able to think ahead in terms of if it is going to be colored, making sure that there's room for the colorist to express themselves as much as the inker expressing themselves or their self when they're doing, a pencil work.
Well, I'll tell you one thing though. There are inkers out there who have told me that when I do that, it says, "Why are you doing that?" Oh, I want to make sure the colors have some moves. Nah. It's not your job. Let them worry about it, or her worry about it later. Like,
No.
and there are times I just can't do that because I've come from a world in advertising where everything was a collaborative thing.
Yes.
And you knew that the next step, the way I see it is that if I screw over the colorist, they'll remember that. And they're like, I don't want to work with this dick. This guy, every time he does this, he makes my life miserable. No. So, I try to make it comfortable for everybody. I also try to keep not geekifying everything I do to the point that they lose the what the artist did. Sometimes I will go a little over in some areas, and then I'll ask them, look, is it okay for me to go a little nuts on this? And they'll tell me yes. Like I did a variant, I did a cover now for Codename Hunter issue number 3 that I asked Ian, how far can I go on my style? He says, just go with whatever. And I actually gave him 4 styles different for inking. I did a main ink, and then I went into the digital, and then added little details and go like, do you like this idea? Do you like this idea? Oh, how about this idea? And it was like, I want number 3. Perfect. There it is. And then they sent him the full scan of that one. But right. I use digital basically as my testing ground. When I'll have a piece, I'll go like, will this work there? And I do, oh, no, that darkness. No, that doesn't. So once I go traditional, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So other times I'll print out 2. Print out 2, and then I'll just test on 1 and go like, all right, no, that sucks. All right, let's try this. All right, that'll work. And just to get an idea, sometimes I'll look at something and think it'll work, and then I do one part and go like, well, that actually like that better now. What am I going to do over here now? So it's a lot of working around it. At the end, I was invited to do the Joe Sinat tribute this year for Inkwell. I did it 4 times. I could not. I was like the first time I was almost done, and I ruined it by putting my hand down. Didn't notice it, and I smeared it. And I afterwards I noticed that I could have done some curvy crackle and could have avoided it. But no, I started it again and immediately ruined it again.
Oh,
so I stopped. Then I did a 3rd version. Halfway through, I'm like, no, I'm not. No, and I did a 4th version. And then I was like, damn, I should have done more. And because I kept it so clean because it was a Ron Friends, and I didn't want to overwhelm Ron's stuff. But then I saw everybody else going crazy. We're like, oh.
Well, that is
later. I should have said that later. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. It's an honor for me to do that.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was saying about is that inking sensibility. And now we're going to get to see that inker sensibility in action now. So,
really? I'm going to do something? You're going to do something? Wow.
No, me. It's going to
be. Gerald's going to be doing something. So
I'm going to be sold.
But before we get started, I want to remind everybody who's in the audience, at Comics Cast, we do have the digital file of the blue lines that we're going to be working on. So we want you guys to either work digitally or traditionally. It's fine either way. Print it off. Doesn't have to be a great piece of paper. And then, go through it, ink it along with us. If you're on YouTube, just go to Facebook and pull that down. It's at Comics Cast on Facebook, and then you can just download that. Ink traditionally, ink digitally, doesn't matter, and then post it on our art show group, and we'll promote it at the end of the show.
Right, and Joe just
this is actually a piece. I cut it down a little bit because it's a radio print I did. Keith Williams has inked over it. Chris Ivy has inked over it. Actually, Ivy gave me his original inks and gave it to me as a gift, so I actually have it on my wall. So,
can we get a reference of? Oh, this probably like, is it?
I gave it Gerald one yesterday. He was like, I wish I had not seen it.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't actually.
See how it goes.
All I can say, I'm going to do this a totally different way than I did originally. So it's going to be. I'm going to mess with this.
That's fine. And what I wanted everybody to know here is that I purposely didn't want to show it, and actually I didn't even look at it as much as I could because I really wanted to go into it a little bit.
No, that's fair point.
I wanted to be a little cold turkey with this and kind of like listen to because this is the whole thing about doing live drawing when I have my guests here is that I often have to like just resist the temptation to look at what the my guests are doing, because if I do, I'm going to be entranced and I'm not going to be able to draw. So what I'm going to rely on Ink Daddy here, Mr. Enrique Kike, to talk about is to sort of like, as he's inking it, maybe sort of like give his thought processes as he's laying down his inks. And, you know, he was telling me, you know, if you watch any of the inking with Kike videos, he's like always moving around his paper. He's always shifting it around. I think, you know, that's one of the really neat things about doing something traditionally, is that you can have that tactile thing instead of like, you know, doing the zoom in, zoom out, and then like flipping things.
All right. Enough talk.
Yeah. I just want to say that I'm gonna let Kike do that part of it. We're gonna get schooled in it, and we're gonna have our art here to show. So
I love the line work on this one too, because it leaves us a little bit open for interpretation that how we're gonna do it.
Yes.
But it does show a little bit of the cross hatching that allows us to know where the line, even though the line weight is kind of showing it, but a little bit of that cross hatching is telling us where the light source is, which we can have some fun with, which will be fun.
All right, so
I've never ever inked anybody else's work. This will be very interesting.
Ink off. We're doing an ink off tonight.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I'm going to actually just really. It's going to be a treat. It's going to be a treat for
my art cam keeps going in and out, so this will be fun.
All right, so
I got my art cam up. It's been up for a while. I have to restock it.
Okay, all right. So let's get our art. I need to get my art cam up here right now. But one more note, please feel free to ink along with us. Download that image. If you want to do it digitally, if you want to do it with traditionally, that would be great. Let us know in the comment fields that you are doing it, and that way we can show it.
Yeah, if you're doing it digitally, you're cheating. Just saying.
Just saying.
Okay.
Just saying. If you're doing it digitally, you're cheating. No, they're not cheating. It's a different form. But then you'll be schooled differently.
Right.
You'll be graded on a different curve.
All right.
We won't believe you. All right.
I'm adding. Okay, so there's Kike's. Kike's already added to it. I'm gonna add mine in a second here, but and then I think Joe's showing off his microns. Is that what he's doing? Is that a micron?
Yeah. I'm gonna try to test some lines here.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess with this real quick here. We'll do quick here. Yeah. So going back to the other story we were talking about a while ago. So once my daughter started getting into all these comics things, I started going back to cons and running into all these other artists. They were like, "Why don't you get into all this stuff?" So I did that, and then back to the meeting in the Panera. With that, I got into working with Horrendous. Horrendous had this gentleman, his name was John Eddingfield, on it. He did a story in it. He's produced stories called Rancidville and stuff. And he asked me, he says, "You know what? I got a kick. I'm going to do this, what do you call it? An anthology. And would have put it up on Kickstarter, blah, blah, blah." I said, "What is it?" "Oh, it'd be like taking fairy tales and messing with them." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds cool. What do you need from me?" He said, "Yes, send me some pitches and we'll see." And I sent him 4, and he accepted 3.
Oh, wow.
I was like, "Don't you have other people?" He's like, yeah, but they're really good. So, so I added those 3, and then, much to my absolute proud papa moment, Ink Daddy moment, my daughter submitted her idea, and it was accepted as well. So
that's awesome.
At 17, she is a published artist writer, and I couldn't be more proud. And she's heading off to the New York's Flying School of Fashion Institute of Technology. And many famous fashion people have been there, but also we had former alumni as Billy Tucci. So yeah, there's comic people there. So it's a lot of. So she's going to be starting there in the fall. So, and she also is doing a pinup for another anthology, which I did not get in. It's called "I Like Robots." So she did a nice little 1950s style advertising ad using robots and stuff, which is absolutely great. But then the thing is that once I got into Not So Fair Tales, which is in my link tree, we're still got 3 more days. We're just getting close to another stretch goal, which will be putting a UV coating on the back. Hopefully everybody will be getting involved in that. We got a load of great backers in that one. Then by doing that one, I got Jeff Weber comes up to me and says, "You know, bro, I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do a anthology." I say, "Okay." So what do you want? Oh, send me some stories. Send him a few. Both of them approved, and now I'm getting Joe Curitelli Jr. and Len Danovich are going to be doing work with me on that one. I'm just writing those, and then somebody else, Andrew Russell, says, "I'm doing a Kickstarter too. Do you want to submit?" I go, "Okay." And I said to him one, he goes like, "I love it. You're in." I say, "Okay." And then he goes like, "Oh, by the way, my artist dropped out on one I was already supposed to do a modern mythology, Folklore Reborn. They dropped out on me. He's disappeared. Can you help?" I'm like, "What? When, okay. When you need it?" "Oh, like in about a month." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Seriously?" Yeah. I said, "Okay, let me check this out." So I talked to my daughter and I said, "Look, if I do breakdowns and I'll just basically aim the camera for you, do you want to draw the best? Because I think the story really works for you." And she said, "Yeah, I'll do it." So now my daughter and I are doing our own very first collaboration together. So on that one is already on Kickstarter and funded. So we're in there in that one as well. That one's all mythology, modern mythology. We funded it almost on the first day. So that was a great shot there. So what I'm saying about all this is that because of a meeting I did 4 years ago, now I have all this stuff I'm doing now. So it is the slow burn, man. You just got to work the network, be good at what you do. If you promise something for a date, do it, get it done, and people will remember you, man. And right now I'm busy all the way through 2022. And I got other stuff I cannot talk about, which I'm doing with Matt. And it's just one of those things you sit down and go like, really, this is happening now. This is incredible. And because when he mentioned it to me about a few months ago, because he asked me to do a story for Not So Fair Tales, but he never got around to be able to finish it in time because of COVID. And then he said, "Look, could you help me with the inking for this poster I'm doing for the Mohan Drive-In? They're doing the show for the Monster Squad. And they're going to have this actor coming in and stuff like that." I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem. What do you want me to do? Just do the inking." And I did it for him. And at that show, certain people were there that saw the piece and they're like, "Wow, this is really good. Who did this?" And they were like, "These two guys." And they contacted Matt and said, "You know what? I think we could use you guys for something else." So that's what we're brewing now. And I'm waiting for contracts to get signed and all that kind of stuff. If it does, I'm just going to say, get ready, guys. People are going to get kikified for a while because it's going to be big.
Kikified. That's a new word.
So it's going to be a lot of fun down the line. So, like I said, a relationship that started. And the funny thing, at that meeting was also Joe Ryan, who is he is a great cartoonist. And right now, he is also part of Not So Fair Tales. He's also done Horrendous. He's going to be in the next Horrendous. And now he is, and you can see him on his website. He's constantly doing cartoons. Like he was doing, I think it was a high school prom. The cartoon. He's a cartoon sketch artist, and that's what he loves, man. He absolutely loves that stuff. I think he wants to be one at Disney. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, I don't see why he wouldn't be. And he's also in that group. He also is participating with me and Matt on the Earth Trembles sketch cards, which are also available right now on Indiegogo. They're already fully funded, but there's a lot of good stuff in there if people want to check it out. Also on my Linktree. And I met, like I said, Joe was also at that meeting. Matt Buttich, he is the artist who helped me do one of the stories in Not So Fair Tales, the Takeout. He was at that meeting. Tevin Gomez was at that meeting, and he's been on my Inking with Kika show. So it's just funny how out of all the people there, we've all had some kind of interaction after the event and have led to doing work with each other. So, and Joe's going to be on my, what do you call it? On my show real soon, Inking with Kika real soon. Oh,
So it's
Sir,
like,
Sir Lester, yes, he's in the house. Yes, you did. You worked on the trembles as well. You did work it. I
yeah,
mean,
I was
the guys who worked on that. I mean, we got Jay Moore. Jay Moore, I think he did like 30 cards as a 50. I was like, dude, what the hell? I did 10. I was like, whoo, that was good. And now he was like, oh, I did 50. The what? You know, I actually asked Rusty Gilligan, who was the guy, he runs Rusty Inks and all that stuff. If he needed me for more, I go like, no, we're good. Now I know why. You had Jay do like 50. My God, it's like, it's incredible amount. So that's a really nice project. And I was happy to get involved because when I had asked Rusty, look, if you ever need an artist for one of your stuff, let me know. And I met him through Matt Parton. And he told me, well, I got this one coming up. What is it? Oh, it's dinosaurs. And we're like, hell yeah, I don't have to draw humans. Absolutely, man. Get me in that one. I don't have to worry about anatomy. So
well, I wanted to go back to your Panera meeting. It's like that's like the meeting of the Illuminati. It's like you met like all these great talented artists, and even though it didn't pan out with the I guess the guy who organized it, you made you made lemonade out of lemons. You met a lot of you met a lot of different people, and now that networking has allowed you to do a lot of different projects. And I was talking about you were mentioning about all these crowdfunding things that you've done. How many crowdfunding campaigns have you contributed to? I know you got two
I got 3 right now. And those are the only 3 I've ever done.
Oh,
and,
really?
And like, I'm just so incredibly blessed at thinking that a year ago, I would never have thought I would have one, much less 2, much less 3 active participating campaigns, and much less even having them simultaneously run, all running at the same time. There was another campaign I was kind of approached for a moment to contribute, but I was so busy with all this other stuff. I said, no, I can't do it. And I wasn't able to participate in that one. But there are a whole bunch of other stuff I'm going to be doing now down the line that are going to be really, really interesting. And like I said, it just takes a lot of, patience. I did those 36 shows, first because I wanted to get seen and stuff, but that was the main reason. The more I was out there, the more I met people, and more I met more people, they would tell me these things or help me on my way or teach me something. I once spent an hour and a half just hanging around with Rodney Ramos, another absolutely fantastic inker. And I was getting schooled by him. And I still have a piece of paper he drew for me, which he pulled out of his on the side. He just in a second did a tour show and everything to show me how he could just do whatever you can quickly. And he was the one who told me the first one of the lessons I learned was like, says always do your best work. And if you need to fix things, fix it. Because an artist will get angry at you, but if you make them look good, they won't care. All right, so as long as you make them look good, fine. But don't change things and go like, oh, I decided that way that you were doing that is crap. I want to do this way. You better have a good reason. So because that's one of the things I really wanted to understand. Is like, I hear that some people like really enhance way beyond. I was like, should I do this? And they're like, just go normal. Don't go overly crazy with it. Sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes you don't need to. So it's really basically communication, because if somebody hires me to do something, they kind of might have known, they should know what I do. They should say, okay, this guy kind of runs in this circle, and this is what he likes to do with stuff. So if you're coming at me to hopefully not to be very straight with your lines and like very keeping with it, yeah, I'll probably do that. But if you want me to go all out crazy, you gotta let me know and give me the go ahead. Then I'll do it. And I will ask sometimes, like, look, how far you want me to go? How little you want me to go? So it's a lot of fun to work it. So
when you're brought on to do inking for somebody, that's like one of the first questions you ask them is that you ask them if you're approached to do it. You ask them what the degree of how like I think you use the words. Do you want me to go crazy with it, or do you want me to do a strict interpretation? Are these like the first things that you ask right away, or?
Yeah, because if I know the person, like if Matt comes to me and says, I want you to ink this. I don't have to ask him because he knows what I'm going to do.
Right.
I've already done a bunch of stuff. But like say you come to me and say, look, I want you to ink this Star Wars piece I did. I'll tell you, how far can I go? Do you want me to go straight up what you did and just make it look really good? Or can I bring in something extra? Now, there is a piece you saw that was shown on the montage that the Robbie did the merman in one format. And then I came in and I told him, look, I'm going to do something with this. I sent him, this is what you wanted. This is what you got me. And I went crazy. I'm going to do something else. And he was like, and when I sent it to him, he didn't reply immediately. And I was like, oh, shit. Well, that's not good.
What did I do? What did I do?
And I said, everything okay? He says, oh, you haven't answered me. It's like, my jaw is still on the ground. I'm still waiting for it to come back up so I can write. He was just blown away by what I did. And I was like, okay. But that's when I actually felt that, because there was in that case, I felt there was so much open area that I thought, it was just screaming, fill me up, fill me up, fill me up. So I mean, there are times that blank areas are good. Some people go like, I love this friend of mine, Eric Hernandez. I love him. He is an absolutely fantastic artist. When I had a problem with Stupendous, he came in 20 minutes. He did a full page for me. That I was really against the gun, and I was like, my God, thank you for doing this for me. But I'm inking his book from now on. I'm taking over for issue 4 of his Soul Eraser. And I always tell him, man, you hate blank spaces. There's not a blank space ever in a panel of yours, ever. And it's like, I just look at it and go like, my God, you're going to kill my hands. It's like, it's so much details in the background stuff. It's like, imagine if you ever looked at a piece of work done by Jeff, oh my God, Jeff Darrow. You get an idea. This guy is that intense. Everything's detailed. Everything's all over the place. And I'm like, oh my God, man, you're killing me. But that's the challenge, man. That is the challenge.
Enrique, while you're going over all this, make sure you spend a little bit of time talking about it. I know that you spoke about some of the things that you're using that's outside of what you normally would use. But yeah, if you could talk about some of the techniques and tools that you're using, that would be
okay. The thing, when I do my own Ink Daddy mode, I forget to talk. So
go for it.
What I'm doing here is actually because I wanted to mess with this a lot today, because I've done this already a few times. So I thought, let me try something new. I'm working here with the quill. Now, I set down a baseline here on the top with the quill just to give me an idea. This is where, because I did this on purpose. There is many ways you can go in this top area. What's the background? What's the foreground? So I leave that for the interpretation of the inker. What are you going to go with that? Now, on the bottom part, no. Now, the bottom part is purely, in the original version that you'll see here, it's done differently. I did it much more black around it to play with the shadows. But here I wanted to practice a little bit of using the texture to give it the texture and to bring out some form. So what I'm using now, I decided to use quill today, which means I have to be careful I don't smear anything. And to give that form, because this tip is so tiny that I can really go in there and put a little teeny tiny details that, as you can see already, I've created with just a few swipes of you can already tell that that's a little bit of a branch move, and there's like a little bit of in there, it's already indented. So I already gave you, the viewer, a little bit of distance. You can tell this is more in the front towards the back. Now the back is covering up a little more ink here to show you that's further back, it's further into darkness. Down here is, I'm going to probably play with it a lot less to give it an idea that, okay, this is lit up maybe more than we thought. So the thing is that I can add all this here now, and then later if I decide, if I want to change the lighting source, I just bring in and put a brush in there and put some more dark and blacks in there, and that way it'll work. Unfortunately, the ink that I usually use for these things dried up. I did not notice the can was open, and it dried up. So I'm using another brand, which is not the one I like. The one I like a lot is Eon Vortex, which is a very matte look. It's very matte. It's not shiny at all, and it's just great. It goes on black, really dark, and gives me that opportunity to really enhance stuff. Okay, is that a G pen or M pen?
Hey, Molly.
This is actually what size is this? I think it's an 8 I'm using here on this one. This one is like pick it up almost anywhere these size here. I got really tiny ones over here and really thick ones, and a lot of the stuff over here I will probably end up using with a brush, which is mostly mechanical stuff over here. But I haven't even taken out my pens yet. So let me see if I can do a little bit of here. Is this finishing? Yeah, it's finishing.
Yeah, I'm over here. This is my first time ever inking anybody else's stuff. So I'm sitting here like just thinking through every move way too much.
Yeah, just let it go, man. I mean, if it's crap, it's okay.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna judge you. Nobody's gonna judge you. Well, maybe me later, but anyway. No, but it's just, when we spoke yesterday, a lot of times if I know I'm doing something for a professional, like been asked to do like that poster I did for that show, I really sit down and analyze where I want to go with, what do I want to do, where am I going to put the light. Every once in a while, I'll get an artist who's like so fascinated with himself, he puts the light in 3 different directions, and I'm like, really? I mean, how many lights you got going on here? And even the other day when I was for my story in Not So Fair Tales, I did the artwork for Sociale Speculum, which was supposed to be done by another artist, and he disappeared on me. So when Andrew actually asked me to do one because his artist did bail, I was like, yeah, I know the feeling. So I asked John Endenfield the other day because he was asking me to fix my daughter's lettering because it was too dark in some spots. It wasn't reading well. So I said, okay, look, since I'm fixing that, can I fix some of the stuff on my Sociale story? And he goes like, sure. What do you want to fix? I was never happy with the shading of the way the backgrounds were working on some of the characters because I was running against the time. So I thought, you know what? Let me fix that. And now I went back and they look great. I really like the way I did a lot of digital work on that one now to really play with the shadows and stuff. So because I knew the light source was only one and it was working, but I practice this here. I'm like, this is how the light diffuses against a wall really further back. So I would see like, oh, it can't be this close. It has to be this far. And sometimes you have to use a little bit of misdirection, and because even though you want to make it really realistic, in comics you can't do always 100% realistic because it's just no way to certain things can look the way that we want to. It's just the nature of the game. You're playing with 2D. You try to create a 3D composition at times. So not all of us could be a Shannon Meyer. Shannon Meyer does those great covers and stuff like. Yeah. Let me see what I can do here. Man.
Well, no, also one of the just with this character too, like a full black costume. Like, how do you like? I've always had issues going like cutting into blacks, or like do you go full black and then cut in with whites, or do you sort of walk in slowly? Like that's always sort of one of those things that.
Like okay, for this piece, when the original inks, like for example, even Chris, when I look at the one he did and the one I did, we just went black, and everything that you see white, we left it that way because I knew it was going to be colored.
Right.
So when it gets colored, then it comes in, and of course it's not really 100% black. The color version has a little bit of more work on it that gives it that more grayish kind of look. And the way when you see the version that actually ended up being colored, you can tell why. It's a moon behind it and stuff, so you got moonlight. Originally, I wanted to have some henchmen in front and stuff, and I thought, no, that's too hard for me to do. I'll just go with it. Let me do this here. This pose is I think I stole it. Not stole it. I referenced it from a Jeff Johnson book. Yeah, so he gifted me a book. He was one of the first people I met, and I actually tried to do some of his ink over some of his stuff, and he liked it, and he gifted me his action, how to draw action. And in there was like a pose really similar to this one. I said, I'm gonna use that one for this here. And because I picked up a few books. When I did this here, I was practicing silhouette. And I had picked up a book that talked a lot about background and silhouette use, noir use. And I actually have a version of this, which was the original idea, which the Black Panther is almost totally black. Only the eyes are white. The collars are detailed in white. Everything else is in silhouette. A very soft look of a moon behind him. And it really was a nice experiment. Then from there, I went to this. I said, okay, now I can do this version. So when I sell the original inks of this one, well, actually the second version, because the original version of these inks are at my father's office. I gifted it to him. It's funny because for years, he had Dali's and all these other great artists. I mean, a lot of Cuban artists in his gallery and home. He never once asked, was like, for me. Then all of a sudden, I got involved in all this stuff, and then he wanted something he wanted me to give him the print. I go, you're not going to put a print next to a Dali. I'm sorry, you're not doing that.
You're right.
What's wrong with you? No. So I said, no, I'll give you the original inks. So I gave him then my original pencils and inks on it. So that's over there. But I gave him the cabinet to my mom. You can't sell that. I'm getting it back once you guys move on. So make sure it's in the will. I don't want my brother picking it up. So yeah. So that's there. And then since then I did an original pencils of the Malecón from Cuba. I did a lighthouse. I did a church around here because he's more into the realism stuff, not the comic book stuff, which is normal. And one of the things I enjoyed doing, like for example, in Horrendous, there's I don't have it here with me because I didn't plan on this, but in Horrendous there's this. Let me find the page real quick.
Ink is going.
Yeah, this image here. Where's the first page? Let me find the first page. Where's it? Yeah, this image here, I'm gonna put it up here real quick.
Let me see if I can get you full here. Boom.
That house. That panel itself. I did it 11 by 17. So it is actually a huge piece, and I love it. And my wife. That's actually my house here. That's where we live right now. And my wife says, "Why the hell do you put our house in a horror story?" I'm like, well, interpret my silence. What can I say? But no, actually, she said it actually looks better. It looks better than what we have because I eliminated the brick look and I gave it a much more modern look. But that harkened back to what I enjoyed doing more as an artist in advertising was I would do the concept art for brochures for architects. So they would show me what they wanted. So I would end up creating these nice little pieces based off their drawings, and I would do that. That's where basically it looked like. And I remembered what I used to do like that, and I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to do that again. And it was a lot of fun to get back into that old mode and do that. So that was a lot. So I'm really messing with this concept right here now. Now I'm going to mess with this here. I don't know how many people can see it because I think my camera moved. There it is. Now, this is where, as an inker, you can really play with. Of course, this was supposed to be a full trunk, but now I'm creating. You know what? I say I don't want a full trunk. I'm going to open it up. So now I'm going to create this little area here to make it look like this broken in the middle. And why can't I? Because I'm the artist. I don't care. I can do what I want. If Keith did this, I went, what the hell are you doing to my drawing, man? So yeah, there it goes. Pull this in here. A lot of the things I like to do, and I suggest this so other people want to, even if you're penciling or what, just do a lot of sketches in nature. Try to find a way that you can interpret things, because despite the fact that I know this is supposed to be wood, maybe someone will look at it and say like, what the heck is that? And they may not understand it. I once went to I had this interview with an agent. He does a lot of, he sets up people for working in Marvel and DC. And what he did, he would take like one spot on my pieces. He would do this. And I was like, okay. And I was saying, what are you doing? Look, if I can't tell that's a rock by doing that, then there's a problem. And go like,
right.
Like I understood that, but then for another point, it's like, yeah, but if you chose something else, you might not be able to know what the heck that is anyway. So that was kind of like, I felt like it was kind of dissing me a bit. I was like, okay. But it has some value. You know, it has some value to saying like, you know, what you're trying to do. But again, if you're working on a project that's more abstract, do you need it to look that way? You know, sometimes the weirdest things I sell, and this is my first turnaround. Finally, this is the reason why I move pages around. I'm using my light tracer. Oh my gosh, a light tracer. It's my light box here, which believe it or not, I do use, because sometimes I don't want to have to go through the trouble of repeating panels. I just go over them again using the light tracer to do it quicker. So now that I flip it around because I've learned the hard way I smear stuff if I touch it. All this is now dry. So by going down here and hanging around there for a while, now I can leave that dry, and then I come up here. Now, I'm not using the traditional standing artist table for these when I transmit, because I do it straight down, and it kind of has a small angle. But I usually use a bigger board to do that. But I'm not that hung up on having to do things straight up from the top and down and stuff. It helps sometimes when I'm doing certain moves, like if I'm making a curve move straight up and down. Yeah, if it's in an incline, it works a lot better. So, but yeah, so it all really depends. But I was telling that Joe I was gonna be moving stuff around, so not to freak out, but it was gonna be happening. So, but again, going back to depending on what you're trying to achieve, you know, sometimes, you know, there is just the different styles work for different people. You know, right now, yesterday I sent to the writer all my breakdowns for the story that's coming up in now my daughter's got to actually now have to draw in color, and I was like, well, these are just breakdowns. I was already making a point. These are just breakdowns. They're not highly detailed. They're better than a layout, but they're like a storyboard. You know, basically we're getting there. He was like, oh man, my wife loves them. These are so beautiful. And I'm like, is your threshold of awesomeness that low? I mean, like, I love the guy. My wife is like, why do you always put yourself down? You know, why don't you just accept the quote of people like your stuff? I'm like, I'm told her, you know, look, the day I start believing my own hype, I'll become a real big DA. You know, I don't want to be a DA. You know, a big, big dick. You know, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to my head. You know, so I always try to keep myself down and humble, and eventually some people might like it. You know, the fact is, you're not going to please everybody. Not everybody's going to. I mean, for even Todd McFarlane and all those people, there's people that hate his guts for whatever reason. It happens. You know, you're not going to be like for everybody. So I go like, well, we'll see what happens. You know, I'm the great humble one. So hey, I mean, I've been called egomaniac by some people. And they're like, just because I like to promote so much. You know, like, okay.
Well, no one can promote yourself better than yourself, right?
You know, I mean, if I had people doing this for me, and they're like, yes, like constantly going out there saying, check out, check out, you know, and I wouldn't need to do it. But I don't have that. I'm not like a Kim, what do you call it? The Kim Kardashian, who has like a staff of people just putting crap online. You know, I don't have that. You know, Christ, man. People sometimes forget that. You know.
Well,
though with a name like Ink Daddy, would expect me to have something like that. You know, shit. Ink Daddy. Woo,
Man. This is a fun experience for sure.
Yes, I could feel it.
So what's the next con that you're going to be going to?
All right. Now that you mentioned that, I do know them by heart, but let me just open them up because I am that kind of an anal individual that I have to have all my information. So let me see where it is.
You're going to that many cons, you're going to be definitely needing it organized.
All right, here we go. My next show is actually on July 24th and 25th. I will be doing, for the first time this year, I'll be heading over to Dayton, Ohio to do a very a well-known show. It's called the Gem City Comic Con.
Okay.
Former stars have been there. Have been Kevin Nolan's been there. Mike Zeck, Mike Grell has been there. It's a lot of great artists have done there before. So Dirk Manning has been in that one. So yeah, so I'm joining that crew there. And then the very next week, I'll be at Terrific Con in Connecticut from July 30th to the 1st. I'll be doing that one. Then I take a very short break. August is pretty simple. I only have one show on August the 28th. I'll be at the Legendary Art Show in New York. That's a Phil Russell show. It's just a one-day show. Keith is going to be there. Scott Hannah's going to be there. They're going to be doing inking consults and inking review. For some reason, the Ink Daddy was not invited to do that. But anyway, I offered to do.
We'll talk to Phil.
What do you call it? I offered to do story analysis and panel work and stuff. So many times I see people have these great ideas, and when you see the execution, you're like, "What?" Yeah, what you're thinking, babe. That doesn't flow this way. That doesn't flow that way, you know. So, but yeah, we'll see what. Then I'm doing the Imbion virtual con. I'm gonna be on Sunday. I'm gonna be on Sunday on that one. So yeah. And after that, I'm at my first Reed Pop show, September 10th to the 12th. I'll be at Florida SuperCon. So if anybody's in the Miami area, you can come and see me there. And the very next week, I'm at Cincinnati Comic Expo, the big show in Kentucky and Cincinnati. I'm one of the guests there, and I'm so stoked to be invited to that show. The only problem, my wife doesn't like the fact that I'm driving to Miami. Then I got to drive to Cincinnati the very same week, next week. So it's going to be a rough run, that one. So, yeah. So we'll see about that, how that all works out. And then after that, I'm very hopeful to be at the New York Comic Con. I'll find out tomorrow. I think tomorrow they let us know if I made the cut, and if not, I'll definitely be at Baltimore in October. Baltimore Comic Con, which is a huge show as well.
Oh yeah, so, I'm gonna have to go see you. I can actually manage that one.
Okay, and then Baltimore, and then after that, in November, I'm at right now. These are the confirmed ones. Confirmed. I'll be a guest at Akron Comic Con in November 6th to the 7th. That was actually when I did that show in 2019. That's where I met Ron Frenz for the first time, Tony Sabella, Don Simpson. Met a whole bunch of other local artists, and they said, "You coming back?" I said, "Well, you taking me? Sure, I'll come back." And I did really well at that show. I did really well. For me, that was a great show, and I love where I had the hotel. It was right next to the Cracker Barrel. So yes, good breakfast. Started my day good. So and then I might be at the Anime New York City if I get chosen. I'm not counting on it because I'm not manga, so I might not get in that one. And then the other one I'm hoping to get into is the C2E2, but of course I gotta wait until August to find out if I'm in or not. So didn't get in 2019, I mean 2020, but when it was going to happen, you know. But now I'm hoping for this year, give it a shot, you know. Well, being that I'm a little bit more experienced, so let's see how that goes. For me, the biggest kick would be to get into New York. That's what that's the one I want.
Yeah. Sure, like
I know people who've been doing it for like, let me see who I can give a name out of. Dan Cooney. He does these 1920s mobster female gangster comics, Tommy Gun Girls. He's telling me, man, I've been trying for 9 years. I've never gotten into it. I always have to end up doing what do you call it, a booth. And I'm like, damn, it's just, and this guy's really talented. So you just never know, man. And sometimes you just got to get lucky. So I'm hoping to get lucky. It's better to be lucky than good, I guess. I don't know. So we'll see. And just it works in golf too. I used to play golf a lot, so I was right. Hey, that was a lucky shot. Yeah, but it counts, right?
Yeah, still counts. I don't hear it.
I don't care. So yeah, that's basically my schedule, which is still, I'm trying to keep it to one or two, maximum of 2 a month. Unfortunately, some of them are back-to-back weeks. So that's the whole idea I'm trying to do. I don't plan on doing 36 again. It was fun for a while, but there were a lot of crappy shows in there. A lot of them. Oh, wait a minute. What was that? Oh, somebody says here it's applied to let Disney publish my art on Disney. I'm already an affiliate anyway. Already worked at Disney World Orlando. Oh, nice. Nice. A buddy of mine, Monty Morris, now going to have a signing at is it at the Walt Disney World for his Mandalorian prints and stuff? So
nice.
Yeah. So that's another guy I met a few years ago, and it's like really funny how like they were just doing certain things and sketches. All of a sudden they're expanding their own roster, doing their own stuff, their own stories, and it's just great. The anybody who says that, oh man, I can't get anything in my things are not getting done, I'm like, well, you're wasting your time then, because there are no excuses anymore. Honestly, you really can do it yourself.
Even with COVID, like there's so much opportunity. I mean, it was crazy.
I mean, I've seen people with absolutely zero talent get books done, and I mean, like, and people who are absolutely fantastic. I'm going. Why are you waiting for it? It's true. I mean, I jest that a 5-year-old kid had a Kickstarter that got funded, and all he did was do like a 5-6 page little story, a comic book story, about bullying in his school and stuff, and it got funded. So it goes to show you, man, if a little 5-year-old can, well, you should get your stuff together. I'm just saying. I mean, it's really easy to say it's hard. It's really easy to say, oh man, if yeah, you can, but if you want to sit down and get something done, you got to do it, man. Part of the reason, this is my final show of probably my most aggressive media push I've done ever. I've done about, in the last month or so, over 20 shows, including my own, to promote all these Kickstarters and stuff out there and everything going on, And my wife's saying, why you keep doing these? Because if I don't, who will? And that's my feeling. Like a lot of people participate in these books, a lot of people participate in stuff. Not everybody promotes, not everybody does everything, and I want to be this, I want everything to be successful. And my point was I told my wife, if this Kickstarter fails, it won't be because of me, because I'm out there putting this in as much as I can. And but everybody really did a good job. Once we got it, Not So Fair Tales was pushed, everybody pushed, and it really, right off the bat. I mean, the day we launched, I was like, I felt like Jerry Lewis on a telethon. I was just sending texts, people post, oh, go backing up, and they were all doing it, and it worked. Mm-hmm. We got 50% of our goal on the first day, and I was like, yeah, there you go. So,
well, what you're talking about too is like, I think there's a lot of people that I've heard a lot of the argument is, well, I'm a perfectionist. It needs to be perfect before I go forward. And this is my name. And it's got to be perfect, and then some people are overworking their, the
idea. Yeah.
Fundamentals and overworking the idea. And instead of just being like, look, trial by fire, get after it, get it done. And you just got to make those choices sometimes.
Yeah, you know, I read the other day because when I was going through, I went through. My wife says I procrastinate a lot and stuff like that. I like to wait for the last second to get things done and stuff like that. But I read a concept about procrastination is that I finally figured out. You know what? I think that actually applied to me. It's not that I'm lazy. It's not like is that what when I did the three stories, all three stories for Not So Fair Tales. The first one I wrote and inked it. The second one I wrote and inked 3 pages and drew 3 pages. But those I was really comfortable with. I knew those stories. I knew I had backup. I knew I had people working with me. I knew I had the colors. I knew I had the letter. Everything was set. So I was easy. The one that was taking forever to get done was Sociales because I was not supposed to do the artwork. And all of a sudden now I got to do it. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This story is too important. It's too important for me to be messing it up with my art. I don't want to be this. It's got to be something really good. So that procrastination is actually the fear of failing at doing something that you put it off. You put it off because you don't want to go through that pain of messing it up. And I think in that first time I've ever read a definition of procrastination, that I feel, yeah, that's what happens to me. That I feel I'm not worthy. I feel I wasn't going for it. It wasn't until I finally was told. And this is where a good editor comes in. And John told me, look, John Ennifield, the creator of the Not So Fair Tales, I told him, man, I might cut and run with this one. I might do this. I might do the. I don't think it's going to be great. And he goes like, it's a real shame. He says, why? It's your best story. It's your best story. I mean, I really want you to get it in there. So figure it out. So I eventually did, and I sent it in, and it took me an aha moment when I was just messing with something digitally to test things out. And I was like, oh my God, this works. This actually works. Oh, and then it opened up the whole thing. Then I redid everything again because now it fits. Now it works. And I was really happy with that. And then John told me when I sent it in, he said, oh, this is great, man. It came out a lot better than you were telling me about. So I got inspired. And he says, well, you know what? I wasn't worried. I said, why? I said, your story was so solid. Had they been stick figures, it would have worked. Is that good?
Praise.
Really good. Yeah. So I was like, well, I told him, why you told me, man? I would have done the stick figures. I would have been done. I would have been done months ago. Thanks a lot. But it's that was high praise, and I really appreciate it. And it's a very difficult subject, and I'm just glad it's coming out, and it's good. It got funded, so people will be able to enjoy it. I believe in July the PDFs for the digitals will be out, and then in October people should be getting. Hopefully, if nothing really messes up with the printer, should be going out to people by mid-October. So maybe you never know. Maybe by Baltimore, I'll have a copy. You never know.
And then I'll pick it up if I can see you there.
Yeah, or you could just back it now, man. Back it now. The good advantage is if you get it and I'm out there, you come and get me, and I'll sign it for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There is a section that we created for signatures and stuff, so it's all set up nice and neat. All right, so I haven't seen anybody. Wait a minute, who's who here? Okay, I'm trying to see Joe Cam. Let me see Gerald there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reserve.
I find it fascinating that nobody's attempted the backgrounds yet. You all went directly to the main character. That's funny. I'm doing everything around it. That's the way I work. I work around. I like to go from the outside in because this is where I establish the focus.
That's an interesting way of approaching it.
This way I can then, when I go to the character, say, how much do I want to bring him back? Do I want to put him in the back? Do I want to put him in the front? Because if I do him first, I'm stuck. I'm like, this is it. You got to go with that. Here I can still I can bring that branch a little forward now. I can bring this a little further back, stuff like that. And so it gives me a little bit of more playing with that. But everybody has their own way. I mean, some people just like to go from the top to the bottom, straight through, no problem. Or me, it's a lot of things like, let me not mess this up, like moving it around. So this is drying. Okay, this was drying. This was drying. And I got to keep tabs on it. It's like, where am I? because that's where I mess up. Like, wait a minute, what was the last thing I put? Okay, let me stick around this way now. Because I cannot tell you how many pieces I've ruined just by touching in the wrong place.
Is that your rule of thumb when you ink? Do you always ink from the outside in, or is it just you make that decision?
Unless it's something pretty obvious that, like, for example, had this just been the character alone, yeah, we just go with him. Had there been like maybe a little something down here, yeah, I go with the character. But when I have so much details in the background, I like to do the details first.
Right.
That tends to be the most tedious and the part that most people don't want to do. But that's the part that I like to get out first, because I like, once I do that, everything else is a dessert. You know, okay, I got all the hard part done. All right, now we're gonna have fun. Let's have fun. Hey, let me have a drink. It's always cool about going to conventions is that you meet all these different artists, especially the legendary artists, who, by the way, most of them are absolutely fantastic individuals, and they're all very gracious with their time. I remember that I was having some trouble with some of my pencil work, trying to keep it in a certain style and without getting it smudged up and stuff. When I met with Rudy Nibres, who did Conan for so many years and all that kind of stuff, he will tell me, you know what you do? You take the pencils and with a very, very light brush, put water on it. I go, what? Yeah, but not like drench it in water. Put a little bit of water, just enough, so it dries up. So that, because what I was doing, because I would use the tutorial to like give it diffuse, but then anybody would come in and touch it, it will disappear. He says, but by putting water on that small spot, it dries it up, that it won't run. But somebody puts their hand on it, it won't go. And you're like, holy crap. So I go, that's a little old school stuff there, buddy. And they're like, yeah. He's like 80 something, I think. He still does shows, man.
Yeah, that's something they don't teach you.
He was actually one of the artists I asked him to do. I asked him to do the artwork for Socialis. I actually approached him, and I remember we hadn't met, but I don't know who gave me his phone number. Was I was able to find? No, I found it online. Somehow, like, you search names and stuff. I'm like, well, there can't be that many guys with this name. And I found him because I knew where he lived in Jersey. So I actually found his son. So I asked his son, could you let me talk to your dad about this? He goes, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we're here. I'm here at their house. Yeah, let me do. And he gave it to him. And I said, you know me, I'm this guy. I'm Kike. Oh, yes, you Conan guy. Yeah, I'm the Conan guy. Yeah, because I showed him the one of the Predator. He was like blown away by that. You know, like, yeah. And I told him, look, can you want to do this with me? And I was like, how many pages? And I'm like, oh, so like 10 pages. No, I'm very old. Peanut. I do peanut. No, I cannot do that. No, sorry. And I was like, okay, man, no problem. And I really wanted him because he had that style I was looking for. But no. He did offer to do the pinup though. But I told him I want to do the trade paperback of all my work. I'll get him in there. So we'll see.
So what other?
Now I'm looking at what I'm doing here. I almost feel like I'm doing a bit of a Howard Shakin here in this corner, messing with this little bit of inking his style now. Okay, what's that?
I was going to say, well, you mentioned Howard Shakin. What other? And I think you mentioned Bernie Wrightston. Who else are your inking like, or just artist inspirations? Like who are your other favorites? Did I ask you a loaded question? Is there just too many?
No, because it depends on what you're looking for, because inking wise, as an expert, as just an inker per se, would be Bernie is my favorite. Mm-hmm. I mean, another one, Terry Austin was one of my favorite when he did the John Byrne and all that kind of stuff for a while. A person like Tim Sale. Tim Sale has a very beautiful style. I like the Sienkiewicz when he was more traditional stuff, not before he went crazy with Electra. I mean, he did that New Mutant stuff for a while. That was pretty normal and calm, but then he went all out there crazy, and I was like, no, was never that much of a fan of that style. But it all changes. It all really depends, you know. I mean, I'm a fan of anybody who can really do their work. I mean, there's so many great artists out there. I'd be doing a disservice that I know I can't remember all their names. Obviously, Keith is a great friend of mine. I like what he does and all that kind of stuff. Bob Allman as well. But it's just like everything else, you know, it's like everything's a flavor. Like for certain things, you might look at this guy, Carlos Esquerra, he rest in peace. He was great for sci-fi and stuff. So it really is where, you know, you could be really good inker, but yet you bring them into a certain, like if you were to ask me to probably ink something like My Little Pony, it would suck. Because I'm not that style, but you give me a horror fantasy book or something like that, or even a sci-fi, I'll do a pretty decent job with it because that's in my area of expertise. Right. You know, I'm much more comfortable there than superheroes, for example. I'm really putting a lot of details in this sucker. My God, I haven't even gotten out of this place yet. Yeah.
So that's saying that we won't see any Ink Daddy My Little Pony projects coming out anytime soon.
I do know some of the artists who do them. You know, you never know, man. They may go crazy. You know, we're gonna do a horror version in which they're all mutants. There we go. I got that. We can do that.
Yeah. I can say never say never.
You never know. I mean, if the paycheck's good, I might do it. If they're crazy enough to hire me, hey, go ahead. But we'll see, man. I mean, like I tell you what, that one project is up on the. If that project that Matt has apparently asked me to be part of it, and is dragging me on into it, and I'm telling you, he told me about this about 2 months ago. He says, "Oh, by June we'll know." I'm like, yeah, sure. And then all of a sudden he calls me up, "Hey, it looks like it's happening." I go, "What are you talking about?" That thing I told you about. Really? I thought you were bluffing. But you know when it became real for me that it was actually happening? When one of the people involved in that project, who's actually a decision maker, all of a sudden started following me. I was like, whoa.
That's when it got real. That's when it got real, right? And
I'm like, what is this? And then I said, well, maybe maybe this is not the same person. You know, they got names are similar. So I sent them a very, thanks for following me. Appreciate it. Looking forward to doing that project just to see. And he sends it back. Yeah, man, I'm so stoked to see what you guys come up with. I'm like, oh shit, this is the guy. Oh my God, this is the person. Yo, yeah, this is awesome. So, like I tell you, if you got the patience, you know, and you just do the work and get in there, I mean, things can happen, you know. I remember when I played golf, you know, when I putt, I always make either one or two things, either making sure it dies at the hole or go beyond it. And there was a line that I remember Jack Nicklaus was asked once, you know, like, why do you tend to overshoot the hole anytime? He says, because if it doesn't make it in there, it won't go in. So that's the whole idea. If you don't put your efforts out there in attempt to get kicked on and told you suck or something, you go for the effort, you're never going to get a chance. You know, you got to go out there and make it happen. You know, you could be the most talented individual in your hotel room, in your house and stuff, but if you're not promoting it, nobody will know. I mean, I'm constantly looking as a writer, constantly looking at new artists, new people. Every time they post something up there, I'll go, I'm going to save this guy. I'm going to save this girl. I'm going to save this lady, this artist, this colorist, this writer, this stuff. I'm like, yeah, because you never know when that opportunity may come up and go, hey, you know what? You want to do something? Yeah, let's try. So, I mean, now I'm at the point that I'm pleasantly surprised that I have people coming to me and saying, you know, next time you write something, could you consider me for the story? And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. John Muller has already done a few stories with me, and he's like, basically, I say, I'm thinking about. Don't tell me. I said yes already. Just let me know if we get it. Okay. So he basically has given me carte blanche. Says anything you think I can do, just let me know. And if we get it, cool. If not, cool. So, and that's I'm thinking like, okay, we're basically the new John Byrne, Terry Austin. Yeah, well, you and I are gonna be that. No problem. You draw it, I'll ink it. So, but that comes from doing the work, man. You got to do the leg work. Even the bad shows. I mean, there was this show. I rarely say the names, but I got this one is so terrible. I mean, the Die Geekdom, and this was in Pennsylvania. I mean, you got to know it's bad when the food court, not even food court, the food they had serving there had mold on their bread. So I mean, like that. Yeah. I don't blame that. That's not on the promoter of the show, but still, you should have checked anyway. But anyway, the point is that it was a terrible show. They made no effort to promote it. I was there with my daughter. My daughter was bummed, but I met so many people who are influential with me today. Sarah Madura, Robin Bryant, Chris Williams, Ink Guy. Who else was there? Jack, who does these sculptures. Another I met so many people who are all part of my life now. Because why? We weren't busy. So we ended up talking to each other and make great connections. So it could have been real easy to be pouting there or do like other people say, oh, I'm leaving, man, I'm leaving. So I stuck around, stuck out for the weekend, and I met a lot of great people who have been on my show, who have done things with me or referred me to work. So everything is an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity, so give it a shot. Make sure everyone tries.
So what's the future? Do you have like
I want to see what Sarah's saying here. So can I ask for some of them here?
Sorry, yeah, I was muted.
Okay, you were muted. Okay, that's why you were so
I was trying to ask. Go ahead and ask. You're reading what I was going to ask anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, it says here. Where is? I would love to know what here is.
It's where she's from. So she's in. What is she? She's in Egypt.
Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you promote an indie to people who have no background in growing up in comics? Wow. All right. Don't think of it as comics. That's the one thing I would do. Think of it as art. Everybody can relate to art. Therefore, what you need to promote it is that this art, which happens to be a comic book style art, is awesome. And that's what you got to make sure. And if you're doing things that people can relate traditionally as to cultural wise and stuff, you can attach it through there. And I refuse to believe there's no culture in Egypt for comics. Maybe not the comics that us Americans know, but there has to be something out there. It has to exist. I refuse to believe that there's nobody out there doing any type of sequential piece of work. There has to be out there. And if there isn't, then there is a vacuum that you can fill. There must be, because just because it's not what a lot of people normally would think about doesn't mean that they don't want to see it. What you got to do is go to social media, find out groups that are local and have interest there. One of the reasons I've been able to get all these opportunities in anthologies is that I joined this anthology group, which is comic book creator anthology creators, and they're constantly putting up, we're looking for submissions, we're looking for this here. And there has to be a group like that in Egypt. If there isn't one in where you live, create it. Go into Facebook and create comic book artists in Egypt, for example. And I guarantee you it's going to get filled up because they're out there. People they just don't know how to do it. They don't know. And then if you create the group, you will be very surprised. You might be pleasantly surprised. There are more out there than you know. I guarantee you, there are more out there than you know. Hope that answered that question.
Yeah, you got to blaze your own path, right? If there's no path there, make your own, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing about it, though. At the end of the day, look at it as a way of creating something that's new. And that's what I mean. Just the amount of time that we spent just interacting with the indie community just in the last year and a half has been incredible, because it's just like you're constantly finding solutions when people say, oh, there's no money in comics, or no, I can't make this, or I can't do that. There's always a way to turn that thing that seems like a conflict or something that would stop you from doing it. It's actually a blessing because there's so much opportunity there for growth that you may not even see it. Like going to a con, for instance, that doesn't work really well. Like it's not a great con maybe to sell, but you're going to make great connections if you spend the time to meet other people that are at the con. Like there's so many different ways to do it.
Right now, if I don't get into New York, I imagine I'll be able to get a pro pass, which I've done in the past. So I don't see why I wouldn't get one this year. And I use that to what? Well, then I go meet, take my portfolio. I mean, what was it in 2020? No, 2020, there wasn't one. So in 2019, what did I do? I looked online. No, actually, I didn't do it online. Brian Polito, when he does all his Kickstarters, because of one of the stretch goals is basically a black and white ash can version of the comic. Well, I take it, blow up the pages, and then I ink them. And then what I did, I inked it, and I took it over to Brian and said, look what I can do. And he said, not bad. Come back to me when you've done 100 pages. I mean, that's great because and I tell him, what? He said, yeah. He says, you got good style here, but I'm seeing things that you're lacking, and those things you will develop when you do 100 pages. So come back when you're done. And I calculated, that's just 5 comics. So I'm like, okay, I can get 5 comics done. Obviously, I haven't had them yet, but I'm getting close. So, and I already can tell from that year to this year, I'm like, yeah, there's a little better work here. I'm doing a little better, so I might be able to next time go up there and go, but in reality, when you look at those comics that are done by Diego Bernard, I believe he's one of the artists in some of those Lady Death books and stuff. There's not a lot of inking in it. They go straight to color, and it has that much more flatter look. So what I'm doing is actually doing beyond what they're normally in, and you can tell when you you compare both to next to each other. You're like, yep, not a lot of inking there. They're just bypassing inkers. That's cheaper. Let's go straight. Okay, fine. Yeah. I actually have a story that I wrote, and I submitted it for Not So Fairy Tales, man. And John told me, I was reading this other story of yours, your number 4 story. Yeah. Now, this is not really a fairy tale, is it? You just put a fairy tale character in there to get it in the book, did you? I'm like, yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, it's not coming in. It's not good. I said, okay, I like it, but it's not for this book. Want another one? I said, okay, no problem. But it is, I've read it to a few friends of mine. They all love it because, especially all the inkers, when they identify with the character really well. So it's a bit of a play on how it is to feel like an inker nowadays. So, and I do it in a really funny way, but unfortunately, anybody who's an inker and reads it goes like, man, this is the story of my life. I know, buddy. I know. I feel you, man. I feel it too. I know what you mean. So,
close to home.
It's I think it was Keith who read it too. He was like, damn it, man. What? Were you like watching me? I don't know, man. You are next to me almost every freaking show, Not much I can do about that. So let me get up here. Oh boy. Tell me, how am I going to finish this? There's no way I'm finishing this.
Well, we like with all of our guests, we stress maybe that the art is basically, it's just a flavor. It's a taste of what our guest style is. In your case, it's the inking style, and learning hearing the story behind it, and learning a little bit about seeing your techniques and actually hearing the stories behind them. So what I encourage you to do, I think we're approaching. It's already 3:00 here, Eastern Standard Time. We've been on for just over 2 hours. Let's try and see how far we can get at let's say 2:10. Joe, does that sound good to you? And
2:10. Oh yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Let's do 2:15.
2:15. Okay.
Yeah, those crucial 5 minutes there. Yeah, those extra 5.
Well,
going to change everything.
What do you say? Oh, can we do I was thinking, 2:30, but 2:15. What? Yeah. Way to go there, Joe. Really putting yourself out there, buddy. Nice. Nice. You know, if it wasn't because I know Joey, otherwise he would tell me what an ass. But anyway.
Some bitch is a dick.
Oh, he used the D word. Censor.
Censor it. Oh, I know. I'm definitely the hypocrite of the group.
I don't have.
So I went different route than you with the background, because it's kind of thinking about what you talked about earlier, is thinking about where you can go once you've done that. See, and I'm wasting away this brush pen that I have when I really should just be taking a brush and going straight on. But that's fine. Whatever. I'll just waste it. I like this brush though.
I think your brush was talking there.
No, that wasn't me.
Man, I did it on purpose. I was squeaking it on purpose. It was just funny going over Joe's and this pen sucks. I go like,
I know.
You know, there's something to be said about that the Sharpie that makes that noise. You know, there you go, bitch.
Yeah, especially when you're at a con. You know, you got to take that Sharpie out sometimes.
Now this is like, I don't even know what this is, like king size Sharpie. You know, like really, everything's bigger for us. Yeah, you know what it is. It looks like a big torpedo. No, because I just read now all my brush pens are like, I don't want to waste it on that section there. So I was like, no, I'm not putting that much in there. I need them for the work later. So let me just add a little more here in this corner. And now what we're gonna do? Where are you? White pens. Where are my white pens? You're not being racist, though. They just happen to be white. Nothing wrong with that. All right, here we go. And put something here. Yeah. Okay. All right, so I am the background daddy today. That's what we did.
Yeah, you definitely went into the background.
Did the background stuff. Well, it's been a while since I've done quill. You know, it's like the old habits are like, hey, we're back here. You know, it's awesome. You haven't taken us out of the bracken. It's about time, you bastard. You know, because they've been high. I haven't been using them a lot. I haven't had an opportunity to really go in there with this stuff. You know, so I thought, you know what? I haven't done it in a while. Let's bring them out. You know.
Well,
I just love the texture, and just move my hand over and I can say, yeah, there you go. It feels like wood. Yeah. When they say
one thing I always wanted is to get quills working, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet. I hate it that it's every single time I think I got it under control, then I splatter it everywhere or I break it. I can't seem to get it right. It's my one sort of thing that I really sort of frustrated about. So about ready to be done with this.
Yeah, so we're done with that. Let me clean this puppy up. Where's the cleaner?
I'm not going to worry about that. I will go in here. Get some.
Okay. There we go. Nice and clean there. All right, how about this one? Yeah, one of the important things to do, kids, always clean your quills. Don't let them dry up with that shit, with that crap in there. You will mess them up. They will not last. So always have that, clean them up quick. I usually would have gotten enough use to soap over there in the other area, but since I can't get up because I was told you cannot get up from the shelf, I'm going, okay, man. Got my little bottle next to me. If you see me like lean a little over, you know what's going on. So don't worry about it. It's not splashing anywhere. You're all good. All right, so that's good there. Now we're gonna bring out the boys. Now we bring out the Big Bang. Now we bring out all the marquees. There we go. This is the one I take to shows. So let's see what we can do here. I might give some weight to this background here. What number we want? Either two. Well, the other thing, I'm always constantly going out and finding new pens and stuff. I'm always testing new things out. Like one of the things I always like to do is I was there and I show the Keith, hey, check this one I found out. He goes, what are you using this for? For this. And I go, oh, that's pretty good. Sometimes I'll test and go, oh, this is terrible. This wasted $5 here, gone. But most of the times they're always come up with something. I mean, I always pick something up. You know, I never know what's going to be like. You know, hey, that's pretty cool. Let's use that. Yeah. There's never been a pen my money won't buy until I then decide, oh crap, this is terrible. Don't use that one. I like these ones. They're just a pain in the ass. They don't last too long. They're Winsor Newtons, dude. These are the ones that this is the same company that does all these really nice brushes.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do these pens, and it has this tip that's got a light over here. You can see it on this side. I'm putting it over here. But where is it? Right there. But if you see it here, it's like it's nice. It's longer for the pen. So it almost feels like it's a brush. So with a pen, so I could pretty much. Can we see it? Yeah, you can see it now. When I do the move, I almost feel like I'm doing it with brushes.
I love that texture work.
Yeah, but I think I sent you that my inks, right? I did send you the inks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think you don't.
Yeah, Joe, you did that.
Yeah, my camera's sort of like conked out. It's been conking out quite a bit, so let me add that back in. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. See. Says here, I can't see your work, Joe. Your aim is off.
Yeah, that's Rick.
Your aim is off. Your aim or your cam is off. I don't know which one of the two.
All right, so I think it's at 12:15 now.
All right, so
I could just enjoy doing this for hours. But I think
hand in your work, people. Hand in your work.
it's time we call it a day.
all right, so is it pencils down now, or
Brush it down.
brush down? All right.
I wanted to have. I was gonna cheat and bring some Copic markers into it, but didn't get to that stage.
All right, let's look at what.
I just want to talk to Enrique about his freaking backgrounds. This is
Let me solo it out, and we can.
You got it? Okay.
Let's make sure I get the right one. Here we go. All right, so look at that insane detail, and you're so right. It's even though you haven't inked the Panther yet, he already pops off there just because of your attention to detail with the background. It's just really, really cool work.
Love it. I love it.
That was a little squeegee went there on the black there, and I wanted to darken that area. And I probably would darken this area too, so these will pop out more. So,
so that was all done with a quill, or was that
everything here? All this details were quill. Yeah.
Now, where did you
look how the pen looks compared to the quill? You know, you can let me pull it up a little closer. You can see how the textures change. Let me check this out.
Yeah.
So
textures. So yeah.
Oh, we lost you.
We lost your.
Yeah, the camera's gone because it's died.
Oh no! Okay.
The phone was.
Let's do a solo out here. Can you show us the screen again? And then the big question for me is like, where are those influences at? And finding a way to build those textures with those small directional lines. Like where's that influence coming from?
When you mean influences, like where did I come up with the idea to do that?
Where did you get the technique from? Like if somebody wanted to study that, like how would you go about teaching somebody to get that background style?
It's called sitting down and looking at nature. No, really, I do it a lot. I go out. I will come by I will be working. I'll be driving around, and all of a sudden, oh man, those rocks look really good. So I pull down the window and take a picture. It will stop at different areas and just like, look, I like this. when I wanted to do some painting of the change of the seasons, I told my wife, "You want to go out for a ride?" Yeah. So essentially, she went, "What is this?" Oh, we're driving, but I'm stopping to see. Oh, great. Okay, great.
Yeah. Do you go, hey, honey, that's a really sexy looking rock. I gotta go take a picture of it.
So I actually would tell her, go sit next to it. Sit next to it.
And then when you get home, you look at those pictures. It's like, honey, I'm not even in frame. You took a picture of the rock.
Sorry, I was trying. I missed. But
yeah.
No. She goes like, no. She got angry at me once because once I asked her, I told my daughter, take a picture of us. I told my daughter, stand up on this staircase, on the stairs, and then take your picture of your mom and me when I tell you. And it's like, so she was up. I grabbed her, and I put her hand down. I was like, and she took a picture. My wife says, "Did you just take a picture of us?" I go, no. And it's like, and because I know the story, she doesn't want to know. See, that story has, for which I wanted that picture, was the original story I was going to do in Stupendous, and it had a really difficult ending that she hated it. I mean, my daughter hated it. My brother, my wife hated the ending. All my artist friends loved it, and they thought it was great. The story was great, but she hated it. I said, "Look, I need a reference for the grieving parents." She goes, "How can you do that to me? How can you put me in that position?" That's why I didn't want you to know I'm taking the picture. Because it would act naturally, and I actually used that as the reference for my moment. She was like super pissed at me on it. Like, all right, sorry, Well, next time I'll go find some other babes to do it with. No, you won't. Okay, so
it's always a good story. Let's look at what Joe did. I can see it from here, and I'm just like already liking it from here. So, Joe, can you like turn it, pick it up, and turn it so we don't see a parallax from it? So, wow, you got into the background yourself. That looks sick.
Yeah, so
I like the use of the white because it gives that little bit of a vine work and stuff. You silhouetted it really nice.
Yeah, that looks.
This whole section here obviously is rushed and not worked on, but
look, I'm going to tell you something right now. When I did the print, I took that out because it was one of those things that looks like a really inverted thing, and I'm like, why the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
And I really took it out, but I appreciate you actually giving it a shot. I mean, everybody has done it, and I think, why? That's one of the things as an inker, you go like, what the hell is this crap? You don't want this in here, So that's
what you're saying. Yeah, and I almost, the funny thing is, I was about ready to not do anything with it, and I was there, so I was like, I'll just go ahead and play with it a little bit. Yeah, but I do want to that maybe it could be something back here behind him.
Yeah, but the thing is, once you see the final version that actually was done, it makes a lot more sense than that. But that came out good. I like the way you did some of those lines with the vines on the top. That works really well. See, you'll see in my version has a little bit of that, but not that much. But yeah, that worked good.
Cool. All right, man, that was fun. Thanks.
Yeah, that looks. Yeah, I really like it. Looks so good.
I even did the name here too. I don't know. What's the rule on that? Do you ink their names when it's signed?
Yes.
Okay.
I do go. Sometimes the colorist, like if it's only a black and white, I will definitely ink it. But there are times that I can't even read their signatures the way they're doing it. But if it's going to be done with color, I'll just leave it in there. Like, hey, that's your problem, not mine. Figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll just put mine under it or over it, whatever it is, and that's it. So let's see what you did.
Let's see.
Yeah, I am horrible at inking, and I just want to.
Here we go. Don't even start with
I want to throw it away. It's like halfway through. It's like, this looks bad.
Joe, what size did you use yours? What size was that piece?
Oh, this is just 8.5 by 11. Because
mine.
Yeah.
Mine, when I printed it printed super small, which was fine because I was like, I'll just ink on the sides. I'm not even sure what.
The size I sent in was a low res, so that's why.
Yeah. After looking at what both of you guys did, it's like I realize how far I have to go. I mean, it's just I got frustrated with it.
Let me see it, damn it!
All right, here we go. So, oops.
I got it.
So, I don't know if I can get it for.
No, you got it. We can see it.
Okay. See, right now I can tell you that you have the beginnings of the right idea. Like the chest really worked. I'll tell you that the chest, the way you did the lines did go. But when you look at the one on the upper muscles, they're not proportionally right in the way they should be. But it is a good idea. I like it because it gives it texture. You can see the arm on the left, on the right arm, it works. When you see the fingers and all that kind of stuff, it really, you get, by putting them individually like that, it enhances each finger. I like the way it worked on the bottom of the arm over there as well. But then you kind of ran out of time on the other one, in there. But it now on the contrast, it didn't work as well on the bottom on the legs.
I agree.
The legs, they were like going in different directions. It almost looked like I don't know which way to look at it, but outside of that, the idea is good. I like the idea. Now I take fault in that I didn't put great lines in that, but it could have done. I could have done a little better with the muscle definitions in the pencils. But it looks great, and you did well with the back leg because I made a incredibly mess of that one when I did the drawing, and you played it well. And I like the way it works, the shadow in the back of it. I would have left that calf. You did. I like the point that you put the dark in the part in the top. For the one near the knee, I would have left it in light. I would not have put that shadow in there. I would have put in a little bit of, because that will give it a contrast that it's over it's in the light. And then I would have done a dark on the kneecap, a little on the bottom to show you that there's an angle, and then leave the band in the back perfect. So had you not done that line there, it would have been perfect.
Just your instant analysis right there. It's just made me think so much in terms of things that are just very natural to you in terms of when you lay down your inks, it makes sense. And then now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, what was I thinking when I did this? And I can see how
I gotta say that I know all the theory. I just suck at doing it, So
I don't know about that. And
also, Gerald, one of the cool things about yours is that I like the fact that you're trying to spot your blacks, heavy black areas where your shadows are. That's one of my weakest points. So I was going softer with my inks on mine, because I knew it was one of those things that I could go in and go with darker grays and then darken them up around it. And so I avoid going full black, and that's one of my biggest issues, is choosing those hard shadows and then sort of committing to it. And then because I'm always worried I'm going to put a hard shadow in the wrong spot.
You saw that.
So I dig yours, man. I dig it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I really, just between the two of you, seeing what you guys did, it really made a difference in terms of just, for me, it's an eye opener to see how you guys approached it. And, I look at what Joe did, and I could see where the colorist would go in there and probably put in those deeper blacks or create more of the shadows. And when I look at Kike's, I see the rich textures that I can only imagine.
Insane, Enrique.
Yeah,
I can't wait to do that. I want to go out in the nature and I'm just going to start drawing rocks. Draw rocks, draw trees, draw leaves. I'm just going to be like, man. Because I love that the small little line work that creates texture. I'm just so ADD. And
notice how much time it took me. You guys, you were able to almost do the full piece. And of course, this is 11 by 14, but still, I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to make sure it was there, could work around it and stuff. And still, I look at it and go well, that didn't work out right. That could have been better. But it's it's one of those things that I didn't think some of the angles through, and I'm like, oops, let me figure this. Let's try to fix it there. Yeah. It's like I think it was Keith who told me, yeah, just add black. I meant to do that, and that was funny because I would always go on my shows, I would do my videos. Oh man, I messed this up, and I don't know. I think it was Ronnie's never say you messed up. It's oh, look how interesting I did that. Interesting. So let's change it a little bit now and make it look this way. I'm but that's not what happened. No, but they don't need to know it.
Right. You could just say it's a happy accident, And
Bob Ross, he's the man.
Yeah.
Can we see the finale? Can we see the original, the finished piece?
Oh yeah. Let me. I think Enrique gave.
Yeah, man. I've been dying to see how I did originally.
Yeah. Let me pull up the file because I purposely didn't put in the put it in the PDF that I shared earlier because I didn't want to give that away. So let me open up that.
The litany of excuses.
But when you see this, you're gonna go, whoa. Okay, so let me share that real quick. All right, so let me zoom out here.
That's the color version, yeah.
Oh, I should have showed let me find the black and white one. But you can see the color version here, and let me find the black.
We'll zoom into that one later. I want to see this. I think that was the original. I did another version later that was actually interesting, thanks to DC, who came up with another idea. Yeah, let's see.
No, I don't know. Did I get the black and white version of this? Because I'm.
Yeah, you did.
I did because I must have put it. Let me talk about the color version while I find the black and white version. So.
Okay, pull this up a little more to the middle. So I'm gonna see something in the chest area.
Okay, let me zoom.
I want to see if there's any chance. Yeah, this is the original version.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Look at that texture.
That's the version that was all DC. He came up with that idea to give it that texture look. That's fantastic. Yeah, you can actually see like the leathery part of the uniform. See, that's when it's so important to have a good team working with you, because that is something that he came up on his own. He says, "What do you think of this?" And go, "Oh, that's terrible." Why do you do that? No, it's like I'm going, dude, that is so freaking great, because had I tried to do that with the ink, it would not look that way, because it will look overly almost like a chainmail, and then it wouldn't be natural. By using the colors and his style and that little format he probably used, he just enhanced it so well. He gave it that extra look that people just love it. Really, really cool. So I'm trying to see if I'm almost positive I sent you that.
You did. I just found it. It was still in the chat. I'm going to pull it up right now. Hold on 1 second. But yeah, I think that's
there. It is. That's not video. It's there.
Yeah, the collaboration between being able to really have a team that can really understand each other's art style and be able to bring it up. Here it is. And let me zoom out here. Look at that, Joe.
Perfect.
See, I eliminated that little weird looking thing on the side. I said, no, I don't want that in there. So I eliminated it completely. But to give you an idea, those on the top, that details you see in the branches was actually white pen after the fact. I went in there and then I gave it I could give that little bit of hint of light within there. And those are on the top as well. You can see those are being added there. Add that later. And then, there's still stuff here that I'm looking at. I'm like, why?
Well, I look at this too, and your choice to black out this, make rather than putting all that intricate detail into the bark and the tree. What I like about it is that when you blacked it out, it actually makes the panther pop.
Yeah, pop more. Yeah.
It actually makes.
Now, on this version, I would probably then have to put really strong lines around his arms and stuff. So now it will pop out more because of the detail. But here it makes it really easy. It's all blacked out. And it's also very lazy on my part. Like, hey.
No, you don't need to tell that. That's not that was intentional.
This is 2 years ago. I wasn't good. So I was just trying to get through this. But and it's just one of those things that the color. See, he added the haze on the bottom and the deflection on the top.
Right.
And there's actually another version of this, but it is not of my version. I actually did it for. I don't think I can get it out right now. It's pretty hidden away. For the Chris Ivy version, I did it in a sunset version.
Oh yeah.
So that's in a sunset mode. So that's a totally different look. So let me see if by any chance, because I think that was just too big. I don't think I've ever reduced it to the right size. Yeah. Do Black Panther project. Originally, we were doing this project that we started it, but never got around to finishing. Okay, wait, this is small. Oh, this is still too big. Let me see if I can send this to you real quick to give you an idea.
Okay.
So,
Joe, I don't know about you, but I definitely got schooled today. I definitely learned a lot. It's going to take, I think, not 100 pages. It's going to take like thousands, if not tens of thousands of pages for me to get there. So
I just sent that to you, so you might be able to see it. There you go.
All right, let me scroll through. Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean, it's just the benefits of definitely
This is
not
done. This
going
is
to the comic books and copying people. You know, go to nature. You know, and that's one of the most important things.
I learned to. I figured that if I was looking at other people artwork wise, you know, you can look at a Monet and Rembrandt, but that's still an illustration. You need to go out and see the real thing. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, look at that.
It's stunning.
But that's Chris Ivy inking that one. That's his version.
And he put the side piece in. Nice.
Yeah. Just it's so cool to see like all these different interpretations and how able to bring out all the details differently. And I think it's one of those things. It's like less is more. You know, I started putting in like line after line after line. It just started getting really cluttered. And then I see the simplicity, the intentional, the like the deliberate strokes that Kike and all these other inkers have or like these these versions have done it. And it just really. It's different when you see it, and then when you actually practice it, when you actually try it, you realize how difficult it is. You know,
what I always do is that I always go for the least amount, and then I stand back and I look at it like, now what do I need? And then you sit back and go like, okay, now I'm going to go in here. Let me add this here. Let me add this here, because that's the thing. You go with the simplest part, and you know that okay, this is basically the trace, if you want to say the evil word. And then I go like, where can I go now that can add more stuff? Then go in there and put the detail in, and then you go in there because once you put the line down, you can't take it back. You know, so I always want to be sure. Well, if I put this one down, I know where we're going with it. Once in a while, having a oops, no, that's not it.
Well, it's I think that's one of the good things about digital because you can't actually go Control Z. Or Apple Z, because you can actually.
So one sec. If there is a PDF of the pencil version of this, yes, Sarah, it is in Comics Cast Facebook page. Go there, download it. It's too bad
you
were doing it during the show, and then ink it and then post it, and we'll talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want, send it to me to one of my messages to me, and then I will eviscerate it and let you know. No, but I won't treat you bad. You know, unlike others who have done that with me.
Yeah. Well, this is
so as of right now, we know that no one's posted on Comics Cast, but go ahead and do that, and then and hit up Enrique and ask him if it's okay for him to check out your stuff.
Definitely. So like this is this was one of the really super enlightening drawing challenges or inking challenges because
Gerald, you learned today less is more. Okay,
yes,
with pencil, you can find your line with a bunch of lines, but with ink, you gotta choose a line and then work it back.
Yes, or I got to do what Kike said and like maybe look at the background first. I mean, I thought that was brilliant. You know, he said, well, sometimes you got to work with the background first to make the foreground or whatever is in the figure in the foreground pop more. I thought that was a really invaluable resource, and I think also I need to like work on a larger scale. I think at 8.5 by 11, using these just micron pens or these Fiber Castle pens, I found like I was getting really thick lines where I didn't want them, and by then I gotta like commit to it, and it just didn't do what I wanted it to do.
When I did an inking on a Vampirella that Billy Tucci did, I did it about this big only. It's like 7 inches or something, and he saw that. No, actually, it was not. He saw that one, but the one he was really impressed was like an 8 by 10 of these 5 figures that he had. And he was like, what size is this? Like a copy of you? No, that's the original. You did it this small? Are you insane? Like, they didn't have the original, you know. I'll get you the better one. So the Vampirelli actually sent it to me so I could do it in the big size.
Yeah.
But I've made that. I've done those. Like I did a Barry Kitson one at an 8.5 by 11, and when I showed it to him, he was like, "You want to see the original?" He pulls out an 11 by 14.
Where was that? Why didn't you give it to me in that size? So I think let
me show it to you. Let me pull this puppy up off the wall. It's over here.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny because it wasn't signed by him, so I asked him, would he mind signing it? But I told him, I understand because I'm not going to sell it and stuff. He goes like, so he actually signed it, Barry Kitson, interpreted by Enrique. So that was a Big Bertha.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
You got a bit of a glare.
Yeah, a little bit of a glare,
Yeah,
but you can still see it. That is
coming in sharp.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's where he said he signed it there. This is his original signature on this puppy. So.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
And then by that, when he did a commission for me of the Ashrail, which is also up there, he gave me his preliminary layout, and I did my inks on that one, and I produced a print, and then we did a picture of it together at East Coast. So, and then he graciously gave me an original sketch to include in my to include it in my sketchbook. So, he was very gracious. So he's a very cool, one of those cool guys.
Wow.
So,
now we are hitting the X point, right? So
somebody says you remember seeing me at Garden State. I hope you bought something.
Well, oh yeah, he'll have to come down to Baltimore, but I think this is we're pushing like 2.5 hours here, and I can talk.
It was interesting.
Yes.
It was a learning experience, but we have to start putting the curtains up.
Yep. So that being said, this is where we get to what we call the Oscar speech of the show, where I will hand the mic back over to Kike, the Ink Daddy, so he can basically give his final thoughts, his thank yous, whatever he wants. You can pretty much say it's up to you. So the mic is in your hands now.
I don't know what to say. No, anyway, thanks everybody for coming up here today. It was a lot of fun. Please check out my link tree down below. You can go there. You can see all of my projects that are up. Currently, they're all funded, but that doesn't mean we can't have more. So the more we get, the more nice, cool things we add. For the Not So Fair Tales, we're adding enhancements to the book. It's already a hardcover. For modern mythology, once we get to 10,000, we'll be adding another extra story. Keep in touch. I got a bunch of other stuff coming up. I'm also I did a 1-page story for Fletcher Cross, which is another anthology coming out now in October. In January, I'll have 2 anthologies with multiple stories in them of mine. I got a project coming up in September where I can't talk about right now. It's going to be pretty awesome. So follow me on Instagram and on Facebook so you hear about it as soon as I announce it. I'm doing a book, another project with Kitsum Windsor. I'm just writing for that one. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. And if you're anywhere in the Ohio area, Connecticut, Florida, Baltimore, or in New York, find me. I'm around. You bring your stuff. You do pencils, you do art, writing, you do any kind of inking or coloring. Bring it over. I'm always available to ask me questions, consulting stuff. And even if it's terrible, I won't tell you. So don't worry about it. Don't feel bad. I've been there too. So come over here and like I said, we'll treat you right. And the chances are you might get to meet Keith Williams, who might be next to me. So you never know. So hopefully you all will enjoy this show. And like I said, just give me a holler. I'm available for other work. If you're a professional who wants looking for a major ink daddy to do some work for you,
right?
Let me know. I'm available. Or as a writer, I'm also available. So
awesome.
Well, that was great.
The light was flashing already, so I got off the screen. Okay.
Yep, you're up. It's okay.
Yeah. So that was a great Oscar speech, and I can't thank you enough for sharing your knowledge and telling your stories, and actually getting to see you in action, seeing all those great quill lines that you were putting down there, and being able to share that artwork, showing everything from the pencils to the inking and actually the coloring, your original characters. It was an all around just learning experience, and I can't thank you enough for being here on the show.
No problem, man. I could have gone on for another 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, we could have.
We got to save content for the Inking with Kike show, I'm going to basically say that you are welcome anytime to come back here to Comics Cast. Let it out. I know that I had a great time. Joe and I'm sure Joe really learned as much as I did. So yes, we look forward to featuring you again. So this is the part of the show where we're ready to close it, and basically we close it with thanks, Sarah. It was an interesting show. We close it with a promotion, or actually just a bringing eyes on a charity partner that we have, and let me pull that up right now, and let me change the banner here. So this is a charity organization that is near and dear to Comics Cast, and it is Golden Fight. They are actually good friends with Joe Tolliver, and he brought them to my attention. And we can't promote them enough because we want to put eyes on this particular charity. They're a charity that I like to call is big enough and small enough at the same time. Small enough in the sense that they are not nationwide. They have a very focused approach. They focus on the Mid-Atlantic region. And big enough, big in the sense they have huge hearts. Big. Their mantra, their mission is to help families who are dealing who have children that are dealing with very severe illnesses like cancer. And when parents are dealing with healing with their child, inevitably they will encounter financial difficulties, and that's where Golden Fight comes in. Golden Fight is huge. They are big. They can basically say that 97 to 98% of the money that they raise goes directly to those families. That nominal 2 to 3% goes to administrative costs. And a lot of the leadership actually does this volunteer because they know how hard it is when these challenges are come up, and they know that they either have been personally touched by that, or they have family members or friends that are experiencing it. So they wanted to put this organization together so that they can help those families and those children that are in need. So if you can, check out the organization. We are not financially tied to them at all. We just are really good friends with them, and they're a phenomenal organization, charity. And if you have some time, check out goldenfight.org. And if you are looking to help a worthy cause, this is one of them. So that being said, Joe, did you have anything else to say before I close this out?
Yeah, just we're moving forward on a lot of the things that Comics Cast is doing. We're going to be at a lot of the shows coming up where we can. So Gerald's on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. So we're going to try our best we can to get to different shows. Moving from the marketing phase to the building phase. Gerald and I are working really hard moving to that part of the company, making it official here shortly as an LLC. And yeah, it's growing, and we're basically going to be something that's a significant force in the indie community within the next year. So I'm really excited that we're sort of crossing from the media agency to the production agency for the platform that we're building for the indie community. So this point forward, it's going to be built by the indie community for the indie community. So Comics Cast is kind of going to this next phase. So really excited to come out here. Make sure you guys are following us on YouTube like we talked before, because we have production that's specifically there. And everything we do is about focusing on the indie community. We're not chasing Marvel or DC or any of that other, what's going on MCU, what's going on in this. It's always about the indie community, highlighting the vast experiences that we get from the indie community versus sort of moving other things. So that's what we're doing here. See us at cons. We're going to see you guys at cons. And I'm just excited that we did an inking tutorial with Enrique. Like, I actually got to learn a lot of stuff today. I do too much Jim Lee watching and not enough getting out in nature. So next time you guys see me, I'll be next to a rock doing a selfie. So that'll be.
There you go.
Or I'm gonna be shadowing Kike. I'm gonna have to find him in Baltimore and see if he can.
Please do, man. It'll be a lot of fun.
We'll do that. We'll do that. So thank you so much, Kike, and check us out. Well, actually, we're not 100% sure about July 4th as a holiday a weekend, so not sure if we're going to have a show next weekend, but we will have one throughout the next few weeks throughout July. So check us out.
Wait. We got another show coming out today.
Yes,
we got a double hitter today, right? Why don't we go ahead and push our next show?
It's true. Okay. Yes. Okay. We have two shows. We're going to make up for possibly not doing a July 4th weekend show. We have one more show coming out today. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be a special show. We're not going to be doing a draw along, but check us out. We're going to be featuring Podunk Comics, and check out the link. We're going to have Justin Acosta and Marius Rionico, and I pronounced it correctly. Yay!
Before you watch the show, go check us out on YouTube with the Marius video that he produced.
Mentor Block.
That Rick produced.
Yes.
So Mentor Block, go check them out before the show, and then we'll see you guys at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard. Well, no, wait.
Eastern.
What's that? 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
We'll see you guys soon. All right.
Okay.
See you there.
See you later. Have a good weekend. Thanks, KK.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. And I'm.